Who brought the dog?
Didn't I tell you that was gonna come up here with a non-electrical camera? Let's go, boy! Yeah!
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Hey, welcome to Tier Ranker Fights. This is the show where we rank things on a tier ranker scale, and tonight we're continuing our TV battle that we've been doing, going through every decade, every time period of TV shows. So this is it. This is the final one before our championship, and these are the classics. So the your like Leave It to Beavers, your I Love Lucy's, your like All in the Families, the list goes on Twilight Zone, Star Trek. I mean, there's a ton of them here, and it's 70s and earlier. So probably you'll see like 50s, 60s, 70s, all that stuff. And yeah, it should be a fun time. So we got some people here that know their stuff when it comes to the classics, and I know a fair amount. I've seen quite a bit because reruns are a great thing. But yeah, I'm your host, Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, or TV hero tonight, and yeah, let's go ahead and bring in our crew for tonight. We'll start with my co-host, Austin Pez Howell. How's it going?
Yeah, no, I grew up, mostly in the 90s, and it was kind of a golden age of syndication. So, when I was a kid, I watched a lot more TV than movies before I got into my, teens when I became, more of a cinephile than a TV file. But a lot of these, a good amount of them I've seen just because I watched a lot of stuff casually on syndication. So I'm at least familiar enough to talk about them. But yeah, we got some good stuff on here.
But yeah, and I was actually pretty surprised by like how many shows that I had actually seen and recognized. And so I got my little TV ranker app, kind of like Letterboxd for TV shows. So you may see me kind of tinkering around with it because I'm not quite sure on a couple of these, but we'll see. so yeah, but
just go with your gut in the moment, Jordan. Just go with your gut. What do you say?
Yeah. Sometimes that's probably the best option, but but yeah, let's bring in some more of our crew tonight. We have Dan Skip Allen.
Hey, how's it going? Dan? You know me, I'm Mr. Classics. I love the classics. I'm an old geezer. I don't look like an old geezer. I'm actually an old geezer, but I'm actually older than Austin and Jordan put together. But people don't know it because I look pretty slick and young with the hat on. So I watched all these movies, all these shows. So this is going to be fun to hear everybody bicker and banter and do, because I know all these shows, and you're not going to put anything behind me.
Well, yeah, sounds good. We appreciate you joining us from your janitor's closet at work. So yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, what a journey to get here.
No, we've like
as
we
long
said,
as you're here.
We've had stranger locations. Our most famous thing is way back when the Barbarian from the Schmodown did a tournament fight via hot tub. So you know what? And nothing will top that.
That's right. Yeah, right. Well, then Chris. We also had Chris Scott in the earlier days doing it from like his like walk-in closet in his bedroom.
Literal closet with like his clothes in the background. Yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah. But we also have we got Maria Hammond. How's it going, Maria?
How you doing? I guess what, I'm older than all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately,
we know.
I think TV was invented, for me.
Maria had to turn the knob to change the channel, right? Is that what it was?
Well, I was even remote control. Yeah, it was like go up there and sort of three. We had three channels, of course, 23 and 17. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. And then we did the rabbit ears, but they never worked out for us. I don't know what we were doing wrong, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the good old rabbit ears. Yeah,
it was fun.
Those are fun
times.
days.
I've seen it all. It's kind of funny to watch the evolution of it. I can't imagine what I would have thought back then if I knew where we were now with streaming and
Yeah, we used to put when the rabbit ears wouldn't quite work, we put some tinfoil on there and try and extend it or like do all that stuff.
No, tinfoil was very
yeah,
popular back then. We also made hats out of it to keep the aliens from coming. You know.
Yeah, right. It's good times. But last but certainly not least, we have Jeremy Adams.
Hello.
Yeah, a younger guy with an old soul, I think.
I was gonna say, he's a young one.
Yeah.
I'm getting up there. I'm getting a tick closer to 50, so I'm not
really?
the young,
Okay.
not the
When you
youngest
become
guy.
70,
but
let me know.
yeah. Well, before you know it, it goes fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, these shows are a little before my time, but I still watch most of them because when I was growing up, we had local TV stations here in California that played a lot of them, and then you get into the 90s and you have TV Land and Nick at Night and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So haven't seen them all, particularly some of the British ones, but I've caught a majority.
I think that's just Malcolm added a lot of the British stuff.
Yeah,
it's
Malcolm.
So if you don't,
there's a couple British ones.
I have one or two. I have one or two on my list of the British ones, like one in particular. But I mean, the British stuff probably won't come up tonight, but that's okay.
They insist on the British stuff for all this, and it's like, well, you're not going to be on the episode, and none of us have seen them, so. but it's
still
fine.
some of my top 5 favorite shows here, though. So it's good.
Well,
yeah.
Right.
Well, we'll see how the classics rank with all the other ones coming up when we get to our championship episode, because I'm curious to see how something from way back when compared to something from nowadays, and like see if it stands the test of time to actually like make it into that all-time list. So we'll see what happens. But
we can spoil it here and there.
Yeah, right. But Austin, what you say, you break it down and let everyone know how it's going to work for any first timers or people tuning in.
Yeah, so Tier Ranker Fights, we got a bevy of a pool of movies to choose from, if you will, and I'll bring up the visual aid just to help us while I explain this. So here's our Tier Ranker chart, and we start up with S, and that is S for superior. So the S tier, the best of the best, the top of the top, and then the other tiers go like grades in school. You got your A, B, C, D, and F, and then we have a tier for haven't seen. So we need at least 3 people on the panel to have seen it to vote on it. So if you feel like you haven't quite seen enough to really rank it, just say so. That's okay.
Okay,
just say haven't seen, but if you have, you can chime in. But yeah, how it'll work is we'll go around the horn. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Everybody will get a chance to nominate a movie from the pool down here. As you can see, I got a big pool of stuff, as Jordan said, pretty much from 3 different decades, because we decided to go 70s and earlier. So there's a bunch of stuff from the 70s and earlier. Get a chance to nominate it. What tier would you put it in? And then we'll go around the horn and everybody will get a chance. Just keep it under a minute or so with your own personal votes, and let us know where you would put that show, whatever show gets nominated. And everybody will get a chance to go around and nominate stuff as we go along. We'll go for just roughly 2 hours. I'll just keep an eye on the clock, and we'll when we get close to that point, close to that 2 hour mark, we'll find a stopping point. But we will hit a last minute sort of Hail Mary round where we get a chance to shout out a few last minute ones and see and do some rapid fire voting at the very, very end. So we'll just do quick like letter grades, for the stuff that has crossovers. I'll explain that more when we get there at the 2 hour mark. So keep your own personal list handy for anything that doesn't get brought up in the course of regular things here. And then we'll be looking to put 10 in the S tier. So a top 10 essentially, and then we will have some honorable mentions from the A tier as well. So once we get to the very end, we'll have to do some individual rankings. That's where my handy dandy chart comes in handy, my very scientific chart where I mark down everybody's votes here, because that comes in handy later when we need to both rank the S tier and see what actually hangs on into the S tier. And probably for tonight we have five panelists, so you'll probably need at least 3 S tier votes to hang on into that S tier, most likely, by the end of the show, and then we'll see what happens from there. So as we go along, that's pretty much how it works.
And just to remind everyone that if you can't quite see all the little graphics there, just refer back to our group chat. We have all the TV shows.
Yeah, I posted everything in the group chat. The only thing I didn't post on there is Dan made a special shout out to F Troops, so I threw that in last minute form. That's fine. But yeah, everything else is the 2 lists I posted in there. I've got in there. Otherwise, I've got them here on screen. I'll be kind of moving up and down. So if you see something you like, you can shout it out. So
you did a lot of work on that.
I sure pulled a lot of graphics for this one, but luckily Tier Ranker doesn't really have a limit, so you can pull I think up to like 5.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, right.
It's quite a bit.
And also shout out to Malcolm. He was saying probably that a lot of the the British shows were more mainstream for him back then than American shows.
No, and I get that. I totally understand
course.
that. It's just I don't know about us old silly Americans.
Yeah,
how much
it's gonna make
British
us
shows we saw. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How sophisticated we were. But yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and jump in and get things started. Jeremy, you're at the bottom of the list, so you can be the first to go to get us started, man. What show would you like to nominate, and where?
I guess because I see it sitting right there. One of my all-time favorites is going to be Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which is actually before the Twilight Zone. It was one of the shows that kicked off the anthology series, and many of the episodes, particularly in season 1, were actually directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and it used the same crew that he used to make the movie Psycho. So just a lot of really great suspenseful episodes, some of them based on popular short stories by a lot of great authors, Daphne du Maurier and people like that who did The Birds. So yeah, this is a real favorite for me. So I just thought I'd throw that one out there.
Okay, no, fair enough.
All right, sounds good. And then Maria, what do you say about
well, I had this one, and I'm now wondering if I had the actual right.
You might have been thinking of the 80s one. There was an 80s one too.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, never mind. No, I'm thinking of my own that I was going to nominate, but I don't see it on the list, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I guess what I'm going to go with for number 1 for me.
Hold on, you have to vote on. We're voting on.
Oh, we're voting on. Oh, good. Thank God, I've got a minute to think.
Okay, yeah. No, what happened? He nominates something, then we go around and we all vote on it as well, and then we get to
old, as you know, 100,000 times. I don't know why you got listening.
Yes, you can talk about. Where
would you rank
Where would you rank it?
Well, when I was growing up, I wasn't at all interested in Alfred Hitchcock, so I have to say that I didn't watch it as much as I should have, probably because I was younger. When I got older, I watched the movies, but I didn't really go back to this. So I'm going to put it in B. I'm going to put it in B because I've seen it.
B, okay.
But I didn't watch it all the time.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, what do you say about
Alfred Hitchcock Presents? I'm actually in the same boat as Maria. I watched more of the Twilight Zone than I did Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and so I don't even remember seeing a single episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And I watched all of Hitchcock's movies. I mean, I've seen basically every one of them, and I just don't remember a single episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. So, unfortunately for me, it's have not seen.
I have not seen
it. Yeah. Well, Austin, have you seen?
Yeah, no, I have seen some Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Not as much as the one on my T-shirt, as we'll probably get to. But and it's just one that I gravitated more because it had more of that sci-fi kind of bend to it. But I have seen enough Alfred Hitchcock Presents, especially later, because I do like anthology stuff. I nominated Tales from the Crypt in our '80s episode, and I like anthology stuff. I'm also going to kind of put it in roughly a B tier category, just because a lot of the topics were not really up my alley, but I realized that they were well written and well directed, and I do know that Spielberg got a chance to watch Hitchcock direct some Alfred Hitchcock Presents when he was snuck onto the Universal lot. It's a pretty famous story. He got to watch his hero direct a little bit of it. So hey, at least it gave us a little bit of Spielberg motivation, so that's fine. But I'm going to go in B tier because it is a good show, but it's not up my alley as some of the other ones on this list.
Yeah. For me, I haven't seen it. I've seen most of Alfred Hitchcock's movies, but I haven't seen Alfred Hitchcock Presents, so it's just a blind spot for me. But I want to check it out sometimes. But yeah,
so that's to be
I think it was on Netflix. It's really worth checking.
It was, that's where I saw a good chunk of them was when they first popped up on Netflix, I think years ago, and I watched a decent amount of them. Yeah. But all right. So we will move up to Maria. Now you can nominate whatever you'd like.
I'm sorry,
Maria.
I messed up the format.
No, you're good. That's all good. What would be your first nomination? What are you talking about?
My first nomination is going to be for a show that probably I don't know if anybody's seen it. I know that I loved it. It's kept an impression on me, and I've looked for it, and I bought the two seasons that it had. Is Thunderbirds. That was hysterical because their lips moved.
Yeah,
they were puppets, or they were. I don't know what they were. I don't know.
It looks like Team America World Police.
That's
what. Yeah, right. It was very much like that. And when that came out, I was so overjoyed to see that because I swear to God, I would have stopped everything in my life to watch these episodes. I mean, I loved it so much, and I don't even remember why I loved it, other than the uniqueness of the mouths. Just and they had exciting sci-fi, and it was really all about the puppets or whatever they are. I'm not sure if they're puppets or just
marionettes. Yeah,
stop action or
they're
whatever.
marionettes. Yeah,
marionettes. Is that what they are? Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But it was very memorable, and that's the first thing when I saw on the list. I went, "Oh my god, I've forgotten about that show. I loved it so much." So yeah, that's what I'm going to nominate, and it would be this for me for sure.
Okay, well, we'll see if anybody
I'm
else
sure it's
wants
not
to
gonna
see
be
it. But Dan, have you seen or are familiar with Thunderbirds?
Yeah, I actually seen all of Thunderbirds, but this is just too campy and too goofy for me. I was a little kid, and it's like I watched so many animated shows and stuff. It's like, and this is just too goofy and stuff for me, and I just couldn't get into it. But I did watch it all. I just wasn't a big fan of it, so it would have to go to B for me because I just wasn't. And there's so many great shows right now. I mean, that we haven't even touched on. I can't put this in S.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't know what Thunderbirds was till I pulled the graphic. But when I pulled it, it intrigued me because I was like, that looks like Team America. I was like, maybe the South Park guys are fans of Thunderbirds. I'm sure maybe they are. Maybe they watched it when they were kids.
Yeah,
right. Took inspiration of it for Team America. I would not be surprised. Those guys know their pop culture. But yeah, I definitely have not seen Thunderbirds. I would know if I did. Jordan.
Yeah, so when Team America World Police came out, I went and watched one episode of the Thunderbirds, and that's all I've seen. So I haven't seen very much. I was just kind of curious because people were like talking about this Thunderbirds show, so I wanted to check it out. And it is kind of up my alley because I love Team America World Police, and then like I wouldn't mind going back to this. I don't know if they're doing like the same style of humor. I imagine maybe World Police is quite a bit edgier, but
for sure.
So I would like to check it out, but I just haven't seen enough. So I have to say I haven't seen it.
Jeremy, have you seen Thunderbirds?
I have indeed. This was one of my dad's favorites growing up. Like his two favorite kid shows. I think.
Great.
His two favorite kid shows growing up were Thunderbirds and Johnny Quest, which both kind of had
Johnny
that.
Quest.
Oh,
Yeah, they both kind of had that.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that adventurous kind of flavor. It's a really cool show. It was really innovative. I believe the creator was British, and they actually made 2 feature films. One of them I think is called Thunderbirds Go. So yeah, it was really cool for a few years there. I kind of agree with Dan that it's a bit on the campy side. It's one of those ones that you kind of look back on, and it's cheesy, but you enjoy it on that level. So with Dan, I would also put it in B.
Okay, all right. So 2 B's and an S. It'll be right around after
Seems like everything's gonna be going to B.
Well,
yeah, right.
I think we'll get to some good stuff here. I think we're getting some personal favorites out of the way. I think is what we're going for.
Yeah,
so that's fun. Hey, but you at least got it on the chart, Maria. I was afraid it was going to enter haven't seen territory. We were floating.
Right.
But Dan, what is your first nomination?
Well, let me tell you something, guys. I was a kid with 2 brothers and a sister and a mother and a father, and we lived in like a tenement. People lived upstairs and whatever, and you had a porch or whatever, but you had people next to you and people across the street. It was just like, and when I was a kid, what seemed like my family and my father and the type of character that I like envision when I think of my own father in a lot of ways, that's Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker, and All in the Family. He called his son-in-law Meathead. The wife was the accents. And then it spun off. It had spin-offs. We might get to some of the spin-offs.
Yeah.
But this was me. This was my family. I resonated with these people, good or bad, however you want to say it. This is my family. This is people that I know, the people next door, the people across the street. It seemed like, wow, we're on TV. This is my dad. You know what I mean? And I love this show. I absolutely freaking love this show. I watched it every episode, never missed a single episode. And it was a little bit before, like I was, at a young age. So this came out a little bit. So I saw it all in reruns. And I think I saw the later seasons of it. But I saw all the beginning seasons in reruns. So I could not do this without putting All in the Family, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep. Austin.
Yeah, you know what? Then you've hit one that's on my personal S tier from this list. So yes, I'm gonna put All in the Family in S tier as well. Yeah, I watched it a lot on TV Land. I think it's because I was also a Married with Children fan, and it was kind of like a precursor to Married with Children. Just this family that didn't always like each other, bickered a lot. Or Archie Bunker was not always a fan of his own offspring, and wouldn't be afraid to tell them to their face. The chemistry he had with Rob Reiner was great. Back and forth, it was beautiful. And I think the acting is great. Yeah, the theme song with him singing out of tune, it's just really, really, those were Jays. So just ridiculous, but very fun. So I like All in the Family quite a bit. So I'll put it in this too. Jordan.
So I forgot I had a couple of hot takes on this. Sorry, don't kill me for this because I just can't. The thing that probably knows me most of it is the theme song. I hate that theme song. I'm just like, it's like the most annoying, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. And then just him sitting in his chair, just like spouting out stuff and he just doesn't like anyone. And it was just funny because it might be another show on this with a guy sitting in a chair, like yelling at people that I actually like because it's just different humor. But this just wasn't for me. But it's not like horrible. Like I have seen like a couple seasons of it, so it was enough to get me to watch some. But I gotta say like B for me. So.
Okay. Jeremy, what's it about All in the Family?
This was going to be one of the next ones I picked. I think this is one of the absolute greatest sitcoms, maybe the greatest sitcom, particularly because of Norman Lear, who was just a genius and used All in the Family as a route to really talk about important things going on at the time, and doing it, through this kind of crazy character, Archie, who spattered off a lot of stuff that, a lot of people did believe, and Norman was kind of poking fun at that. And I think it's just as edgy now as it was then, while still kind of having that 70s kind of sitcom vibe to it. I also think it was one of the first shows that gave us the special episode, which became an important thing, like going forward in a lot of other sitcoms, which was the one where a guy breaks into the house and actually assaults the wife. And I'll never forget it. It's just one of the most harrowing things, just special really, episode. Really disturbing in this funny show. So, and then of course, the legacy of all the spinoffs, like how many, like 8 spinoffs from the show or something. It's just an incredible legacy. And oh my God, way up there for me.
So S.
Yes, S for sure. Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
But I kind of miss the special episode where you take like a sitcom and it's just funny the whole time, and you get one that gets serious, and gets real serious. Yeah. So yeah. Maria, what do you say here?
And you're muted.
You're muted.
Watching it when it was brand new, it was groundbreaking, of course. It's topic and so forth. I had a lot of trouble with it because Archie was just insufferable. For someone of the way I am, the type of personality I have, I found him to be and Edith, poor suffering Edith, but of course, she could have changed that, but whatever. I just didn't. I'm not with it with you guys on how much you revere it, because the topics that were topical were really happening in the world. They weren't like something that just when you see it 20 years later, it's a whole lot different than when people are actually suffering from these particular things. And Archie's saying what he says and so forth. It was okay. I don't love it. I wouldn't. It wouldn't be in my top 10 ever. So I'm going to move it to A if I can. I'm sure I can't because you all love it so much. But I'm kind of with Jordan. I didn't get it. I didn't think he was that funny, and I thought it was awful, some of the things he said and the way he treated her. And I get the special episodes. I understand what you're talking about. It's great for you. It was a memorable thing. For us, it was like, are you kidding me right now? What are you talking about this for? So anyway, had to be there. Anyway, I just don't love it. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. I read my
no, Maria. I'm telling you right now.
I'm
telling you right now, Maria. I knew going into this, I was going to say All in the Family first, and I said to myself, she's going to say that she doesn't like it as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
You said exactly what I thought you were going to say.
They were not recognizable to me. I knew no one that talked like that to each other.
Okay. That's why it's fun. It's TV. All right, but 3 S's, an A, and a P. So it'll hang up in S tier for now. We'll see if it gets bumped out later. But hang it up there for a second. All right, so I guess it's on to me.
Right
and
on.
well, I think I maybe showed my cards with the T-shirt I'm wearing tonight. I got to go with the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone is not only one of my favorites on here. I think it's one of my favorite TV shows, period, just of all time. I think the show holds up brilliantly, and it's really a testament to the writing of Rod Serling, that he was really able to get to humans, the human psyche, and a lot of things that have aged very well. And really, the core of it is the writing and the performances, and how entertaining just the stories were, and the little twists at the end. I mean, I think the show inspired so many other shows that would come along after that. And yeah, me and my dad always bonded over this because Sci-Fi Channel would play like all-day marathons on like New Year's or 4th of July or whatever. We would just sit down and watch Twilight Zone all day, and I still go back and watch it. I have the Blu-ray set, and I just think the show is so brilliant in what it does, and so many great recognizable faces over the years. And I just still think about many of the episodes to this day. So yeah, I got to roll with the Twilight Zone. We'll see what you guys think. Jordan.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone is an all-timer. This is hands down like probably in my top like 5 of this whole entire era. Because like I've seen so many episodes. I've probably seen almost all of them. I'm sure there's a couple in there that I haven't seen, but I love the whole vibe. The Rod Serling, like you're entering a world of sight and sound,
but a mind.
But a mind, yeah. But then, or like going to. If you go to Disney World, the Tower of Terror still has Twilight Zone stuff, and I hope they never change that. But and there's just so many great episodes. I mean, you have the famous one, like the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. That's like the one that most people probably know of. But then there's so many different ones. Whether it's like the Talking Tina, I'm a fan of that, or the military guy that like sees modern day jets flying by, or like the guy that goes back to his hometown and nobody recognizes him, or there's just so many that just like you can go on and on about all the great episodes. There's just so many, so this is probably one of the easiest S tiers for me. So yeah, S.
All right, yeah, Jeremy, what do you say about the Twilight Zone?
Oh, it's just one of the all-time greats. It's the top 5 TV show ever for me. It's one of those ones where, everyone in my family had different tastes and what they wanted to watch, but we all loved the Twilight Zone. Everyone had that one particular episode. Like my mom loved the one with the evil doll Talking Tina. Like she's
Ellie Savalas, man. I'm talking Tina, and I don't like you very much. She was always trying
to creep me out with that one. It was great. Yeah, I really miss here in Southern California. We used to on local television every year. At Thanksgiving, they would have the Twilight Zone marathon, and now it's like Big Bang Theory or something. I don't know what it is, or it's that's really a loss to the culture. It's such a great show. I also want to shout out the second Rod Serling series, which was Night Gallery, which is also great. Spielberg directed a couple episodes, but yeah, nothing would ever live up to the original. I love the Twilight Zone.
All right, Esther.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, sounds good. Maria,
I'll leave it there too. I loved it. My favorite is the Burgess Meredith, the library.
Oh, so good.
I died. Yeah. My reading is my hobby. What I do, if that happened to me.
That episode was called "Time Enough at Last."
I tell you what, that's my favorite episode. I also like the one with the pig noses. I also like the one with the where the people pick the bodies, the younger bodies, and then they end up one of them can't do it. I mean, it's just there's so many of them that are great. I mean, I watched it all. Our family watched it too. My brother, serious sci-fi guy, was totally into it. I mean, to the point of craziness back then. Nowadays, it would just be called a fan, but he was really into everything about it. And it's a good show, and I would definitely put it up there. That's definitely one of the ones I would keep.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
Dan.
I didn't see every episode of the Twilight, but I saw a lot of it. And now you can tell me if I'm wrong, Austin. Was there a nuclear bunker episode where they were hiding?
there was an episode where people were fighting over one in the neighborhood, and then it ends up everybody turns on each other and is fighting over it, and then it gets called off, and there's awkward moments after that, and it's great.
And then I remember like James T. Kirk sees something out on
that's 20,000 feet.
I love. I mean, like I said, I've seen enough of it, and those are the two that I recall. I don't remember a lot of what I saw on the Twilight Zone because I was really pretty young. But it's like, for me, it's not one of the all-time great shows in this era because I just loved so many shows growing up as a kid. This is kind of one of those ones where I didn't love it as much as like All the Family and like some others that I'm going to talk about. But I really do respect it and appreciate it and know that it was doing some amazing things. So I would say A for me.
Oh, so close to a sweep.
Yeah, right.
We'll
get there.
So close. Yeah.
Ah, so close.
All right.
But it's in the top spot as of right now.
With
4 S's. So there you go. All right, Jordan, what's your first nomination? What do you got?
So for this episode, I don't always do it, but I'm just going to go with all my favorites, my top, my personal heavy hitters. And if you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of the show, even to this day, because it's still on the air, and that's Saturday Night Live. So
all right,
put it up there because Saturday Night Live rules. And I think that for this era, you got to shout out the original cast because that's really the core. So like Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Jane Curtin, Lorraine Newman, Garrett Morris, Gilda Radner, all those guys that are just like classic. We had the movie that came out last year, Saturday Night, and that was great, like very well casted, and just kind of like the pacing's really good and very well edited too. But just like there's an era for it for everybody. Everybody has their favorite era. Mine's probably like the 90s for me, but yeah, I mean, and like even for like people who say like, oh, Saturday Night Live isn't as good. I think that it's just different people, and it's just how you resonate with different people. Because I think that the writing's still there, but it's just different people, and just depends if you find them funny or other people funny. But yeah, just like I remember just growing up that Saturday Night Live was an institution, or like if you didn't watch it the day before and then you go to school, everyone's talking about it. You see this sketch, you see that one, and like you want to watch it so you're in the loop with everyone else, and you want to be able to keep up. And yeah, I just think that like it's just like such an incredible feat to have 50 seasons going back to 75, and yeah, it's just an amazing show, and yeah, probably the best sketch show of all time. I mean, there's some other good ones, but this is probably at the top. So yeah, SNL for S tier.
All right, Jeremy, what do you say about SNL?
Yeah, what can you say? This has been a part of my life since I can remember. I'm lucky enough that my parents, showed me the first cast for some episodes, particularly like the best of cassettes used to come out of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and those guys. So that was my first cast. So I got introduced to it, I think, the best way with the original, with the early, spark of originality that they had. And then I got a little older and I Hartman, Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler era, and that's kind of really close to my heart. But yeah, it's such a part of our culture. It's Weekend Update, the musical guests, all of the important things that are part of pop culture that came from that show. It's always been a mixed bag. Like, it's a 90-minute show. They're doing it live, usually in like the last half an hour, the skits die, but that's kind of the fun. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Some things bomb. Sometimes people are, just start laughing and get breaking. And that's just part of the fun of that live experiment that's been going, and the experiment keeps going. So it's an S tier for me. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. It's a great show. It's always been a great show. I mean, it has its moments where people get down on it. I watch it anyway. I mean, I always find something funny in it, at least one skit, if nothing else. Or the people are just, when they crack, as he says, when they break and so forth. That's the fun of it, kind of. Some of the people
Jimmy Fallon,
he's like Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, the worst.
You're like infamous for that. Yeah.
He seems to break every time in any skit. Him and Pierce Brosnan had a clothing store one time, and Will Ferrell came out with a little watch on his hand and talked. I still watch that on repeat. You can get it on NBC, of course, online, but just really great. And I've never had any time. And the 50th anniversary show was amazing. I mean, honestly,
it was really good.
Insane.
So
I loved
it
so much. So yeah, nothing wrong with that one being an S tier for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I 75, that means I was 1 year old. And so I started being conscious of TV shows and stuff when I was about 6, which is 1980. So those guys are still kind of on the fringes, kind of getting out of there. So I had like in the early 80s, in the minute, these people, some of these people would turn out to be some of the biggest stars in Hollywood, like Martin Short, Billy Crystal, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, but it was what Jeremy said. It was the late 80s and early 90s for me. Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley. It was home run after home run after home run with that crew of people. And some of these people have never even had a career outside of SNL, like Rob Schneider. You can do it. That's his career. Some of these guys are like,
making top B's. Yeah.
They were amazing on the show. And then Adam Sandler was incredible. That batch of late 80s, early 90s was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like the openings a lot. In a given political year, God, if you get a political year on it, it's some of the best stuff those years. If you go look at the political years, like the election years, oh my God, some amazing stuff. I love the show. Amazing, incredible show. It's crazy how it lasted 50 years. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's an institution at this point. So, but Austin.
No, Jordan knows I'm going to say yes to SNL. We literally we bonded and basically met because of SNL. He was putting the feelers out on Facebook for a co-host for Live from Movie Hero, the show we used to do about SNL. I just said, hey, I'm a massive SNL fan. I'd like to give this a shot. I think I'd be all right. And here we are now. Now I'm
years later,
a lot of stuff, everything on the channel. So, we bonded over our love of this. And I got into it in the 90s when Comedy Central would play condensed episodes and reruns. I would see a whole bunch of that. Became a super fan and then went back, and watched a lot of the other classic ones, especially once they started getting uploaded to streaming services and whatnot. So, I love SNL and I always will love it, SNL. And I think the show's always been great. It just depends on what your flavor is for cast members and things. But I think there's always been highlights throughout the years. I dismiss everybody that goes, SNL's only been great that this period or this period. Bullshit. Bullshit.
No.
That's so stupid. That's such an ignorant way to look at it. There's funny stuff every era, all the time throughout there's a reason it's lasted 50 years. If it was garbage after, it was only good for the first 5 years. No, there's a reason it's been on for 50 years, bro. It's still good. Stop.
They would have canceled it. Yeah.
They would have canceled it a long time ago. Stop.
Eddie Murphy carried the show, though, right? Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah.
But then it was enough to when then Jordan and I looked at the '86 season, and that's when they brought in Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon and started picking up again. And the show may have little dips and valleys here and there, but it always picks back up and gets back on its feet, and it's great. So this is an easy S tier for SNL, 100%.
It needs more cowbell.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say cowbell. That's when something really transcends. When you have something like that literally transcends.
It transcends. But
the cowbell.
But for anyone,
go ahead.
For anyone who's curious, it's still going. They announced the next 3 hosts, so I'll just throw it up there. I got the graphic here. They got Mikey Madsen hosting. They got Jack Black. They got John Hammond, and then the music guests or something for everyone. You got Elton John in there, Morgan Wallen, some country flavor.
I don't like the music guests.
So it's still going.
All right. Well, we're back down to the bottom. So Jeremy, what you got next?
Well, you guys just said what is probably the greatest sketch show of all time. I'm going to give you what I think is the other greatest sketch show of all time, and that is Monty Python's Flying Circus.
No doubt.
This is the show that I mentioned my dad before. He got me into the Alfred Hitchcock stuff. He, got me into Thunderbirds, Johnny Quest and stuff. But as soon as I was old enough, it was Monty Python. It was the show. It was the movies. It was Monty Python all the time from my dad. Thankfully, he watched it because we had it on public broadcasting here, so we were able to see it, even though we didn't have the BBC and whatever channel was on. But just the these young guys right out of Cambridge or whatever it was, just just changed the face of comedy forever, just with this off the wall crazy
funny.
stuff that these five guys did. Cleese, Palin, Terry Jones, Eric Idle, just all so funny. All the characters they played, just so many great sketches, from the cheese shop to the parrot, just so many memorable things. One of my favorites is the old lady gang, like the gang of old ladies. Incredible stuff. And
the silly walking guy, the guy who silly walks.
The lumberjack song, of course. But then my favorite thing as a little kid was Terry Gilliam's animation, his like cutout animation stuff. Like that it's good to a little kid, that stuff stood out the most. But yeah, it's just, you even go back now, it's still just so off the wall. It's so weird. It's unlike anything to this day. So many people have tried to copy it, to do something like it. Kids in the Hall got pretty close, but I don't think there ever will be something exactly like those guys. And then it led to them doing the movies, which are some of my favorite comedy films as well. So that'll be my nomination for the next Monty Python's Flying Circus.
All right, Maria, what do you say about?
We never get out of me for that. My husband and I bonded over that when we first met.
That's awesome.
Started talking about that's over 50 years ago. Jesus Christ. Anyway, first started talking about it, and my favorite was a Lupin. The guy was Lupin trying to find, going across the land with the Lupins, and his lumberjack song, of course. But I just, what a great show that was. I mean, just actual off the chart craziness that you didn't even know you needed. I mean, we got it through PBS. It did not come. We didn't even know what BBC was then. I mean, unfortunately, but there's S is good for it. I know we're going to run out of room here at S. I know that. I know but it's definitely worth being up there, because it's just so so unexpectedly funny, and always with something crazy. I mean, the parrot thing, oh my god.
There's
so many things, but they dress up as women. and nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. That was always they would all burst in there, all tense, and everybody's like, you're just sitting there.
And if anybody's interested, there is a YouTube channel, and it's up, that has uploaded like every episode in parts.
That's true.
On a playlist. Like, it's 187 videos. It's like, season 1, episode 1, part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. But have like everything up there, so that's pretty cool.
That's funny.
In a playlist. All right, but Dan, what do you say about the Flying Circus?
Yeah, I knew Jeremy liked these movies because we had talked about was it The Life of Brian or one? Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, we did on
Holy Grail, yeah. I knew he had liked that these movies and stuff, but I didn't realize he was this big of a fan of the show. But this wasn't on my radar as a kid. I had so many shows I was watching, guys. You have no idea how many shows.
You had to go find this too. It wasn't like
I just didn't watch this. This wasn't. I didn't even know anything about this growing up. So unfortunately, it's have not seen.
Okay.
Check out that YouTube channel. You mentioned it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There is. But Austin, what do you say?
So I actually started seeking it out because there was a famous like infomercial for the box set of Flying Circus that showed like clips of it that went around and showed little pieces of it. And so it always stuck in my brain, and I went back and watched it. I do like the show for what it is, and because I like sketch shows like SNL, and it's got that British humor. I've grown to appreciate it more over the years. To me, SNL will always be kind of like the S tier sketch show. So I have to put like Monty Python in A tier just because, like SNL is my S, and then everything else is kind of like, the second tier behind that. But I still do really like the show. And I've gone back and watched it over the years, but I'm hit or miss on the movies. I like Life of Brian. I don't love Holy Grail as much as everybody else does. I'm not as big on it, and I don't like Meaning of Life at all. I hate that movie. Absolutely hate that movie.
That movie's.
But Life of Brian rocks. I love Life of Brian, but yeah, so they're hit or miss movie wise. But the TV show is very funny, so I'll give it an A tier just because I can't quite put it in the same tier as SNL. I just love that one too much. Jordan.
Well, I'm along the same lines as you, Austin, for Monty Python. I mean, I love the show. Like, I almost like the show better than some of the movies. I mean, like, because I'm actually not that high in the life of Brian. For whatever reason, it just doesn't hit with me. But I love Holy Grail, and like even like The Meaning of Life. I like that, or like even some of their like earlier ones. Now for something completely different, or whatever that
I
was.
love that.
Yeah, and I was introduced by one of my best friends. His dad had all the seasons on DVD, so we'd watch them at his house. Yeah, and like that dead bird in the pet shop where he's like trying to sell him the dead bird or whatever. Just really good stuff, and like but yeah, there's just so many great ones, and I do think that it is really, really good. But I'm kind of with Austin on like if SNL is the S tier, then the Monty Python's got to be like the A tier for me. So I'll say A.
That's okay.
So it grades. We got a 2 and 2, so it's going to be kind of top of A tier at the moment. That's where it's going to land right now. But all right, Maria, what is your next nomination?
Well, I'm going to break from what we've been talking about more or less. I'm going to go with, I loved action adventure. I still do. That's one of my favorite genres. And I'm going to have to say Mission Impossible. I never missed an episode of that. I thought that was the freaking bomb. I love Jim Graves. I thought he was just so hot. I know it's a long time ago. And the way the structure of the show was so tense and so well done that you actually believe these people could be wearing these masks and they would pull them off and all that stuff. And it's Tom Cruise is doing a whole different, more modern, better take on it. But I mean, I tell you, back then that gripped me every week. I couldn't wait to have that come on, and I couldn't wait to see it, and I loved it to death. So, Mission Impossible for me is an S, but I know it's probably not for everybody else.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Dan, what do you say?
I'll tell you guys, I've seen a few episodes of Mission Impossible, but I haven't seen like the whole show like Maria has seen this show. I didn't find Mission Impossible until the Tom Cruise movies, unfortunately.
Really?
And I know that's blasphemy to say that, but sacrilege or whatever. I just didn't find this show as a kid. And so I would say it's more on the have not seen, because I've only seen a couple episodes. I really haven't.
Barbara Bain, Matt Landau.
I don't even know those people. I don't even know who those people are, honestly. I mean,
you know Martin Landau, Dan.
Oh, Martin Landau. Martin Landau.
I'm pretty sure you know him.
Yeah, I do. Okay, but yeah, I don't think I saw very many episodes of this. Unfortunately, guys.
I loved it.
Well, that's all right. Austin, what do you say?
Maria, Mission Impossible starring who? Peter Graves?
You ever seen a grown man naked?
I said Jim, didn't I? That's his brother, Jim Arness.
Yeah.
I know
Peter,
So I'm in the same category as Dan. I've only ever seen like maybe 2 or 3 episodes off and on here and there. I have not gone back and watched it. I'm trying to go back and watch some of these more.
I think it's on Peacock, right?
It's I'm trying to go back and watch some of these series when I can, but there's only so many hours in the day. But I'm in the same camp where I cannot make a judgment on it, so I will say haven't seen.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also haven't.
There you go.
Either, but
it's okay.
Back in the 90s, though, they had a Mission Impossible video game that was on NES that I played. That was actually based off the TV series, and I remember playing that, and that game was all right. Like it was decently fun. But I just haven't seen any of the actual TV series, so I'll have to say I haven't seen it.
Well.
I definitely grew up watching Mission Impossible. I really enjoy it. It's a really terrific show. Still fun to go back and watch an episode on Peacock here and there. This is something we might get mentioned, but I grew up a big Star Trek fan, and both Shatner and Nimoy were on that series as guest stars. For anything else, seek out the episode with Shatner where he's like a mob boss who gets like plastic surgery to look like a different guy, and they like track him down and he's all over the top. It's so much fun. It would probably be A tier for me, but it's a really good show. It's still just a lot of fun, and it's also fun to see the little seeds and the little things that they picked up when they did the movies. There's a lot of details, little characters and stuff. It's all in there, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, fortunately, it's only got 2 votes, so it's going to go into the haven't seen
Okay.
category. We need at least
I
3.
got to mention.
Here, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, Maria. We give you at least 1 mulligan, so you get 1 more shot if it goes into the
Yeah.
haven't seen. Before we move on to the next person, so you get a mulligan, so you can
Oh, right
nominate
now?
something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we give him 1 mulligan. If you get another one that haven't seen, we move on. But
well, I'm going to mention
shot.
then when I might get some votes on the original Star Trek.
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
I have an inkling feeling you'll get Jeremy on board with this one. So
Yeah,
we'll
right.
see.
What?
I mean,
I think he
never
might.
said-
who's
He
that?
might have
Who's
seen it.
that
He
guy
might
up
have seen
there?
it.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
The guy behind
He
us,
might
yeah.
be slightly familiar with it, but go ahead, Maria. Yeah.
It didn't start out with Captain Kirk being Shatner. It was Jeffrey Hunter, wasn't it?
Captain Pike,
the original
yeah.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah.
Pike.
I really didn't like it.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was like, ugh, But then my brother was like, no, you got to watch this because he was seriously unbelievable sci-fi guy. And I said, okay, fine, I'll watch it with you. And so I watched. I said, when Shatner got on there, I know overactor, whatever. I thought he was great. I thought he was hot. I thought he was great. I thought he was good at it. I didn't even think anything about everybody hating each other until later when they all talked about it in the movie
Yeah.
times. But I thought they were, and he just had all kinds of sexual relations, I believe, with all kinds of aliens. I'm not sure. They didn't really
He
say that
did.
out loud, but you kind of got that impression. Anyway, I just loved it. Mr. Spock, I mean, give me a break. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And if Uhura was Uhura, where that is, was good. Everybody played their parts well. I really enjoyed it. I like watching it even today. And the red shirts, the red shirt's gonna go, so that's a fun part. Here, like in Galaxy Quest, oh hurry, you guys got a red shirt, it's gonna get killed. But
Yeah.
it's funny that they did such a great job making fun of it. But anyway, it's one of my favorites, and I still love Star. I couldn't say enough good about Star Trek. I mean, I love Star Wars too, but Star Trek's got its own thing, and Chris Pine nowadays. So anyhow, Star Trek. That's different.
Dan, what do you say about Star Trek?
Yeah.
I was on the last episode, the 1980s with Jordan, and I nominated Star Trek: The Next Generation for S tier, and I believe did it stay in the top 10, Jordan? Star Trek: The Next.
I hope so.
I believe so. I believe it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, look, my buddy, I have a buddy of mine. I think Jeremy has met him, and that's Scott Mance is a massive Star Trek fan. And I've talked to Scott Mance online about Star Trek, and I told him, I said, I grew up with Next Generation, and to me, Next Generation is the pinnacle of Star Trek. But I do like the original Star Trek quite a bit. There are episodes where they really resonate with me quite a bit. The Loki and Beale episode with Frank Gorshin. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The one
really,
with Elizabeth Taylor. What's
Tribbles?
No.
You're talking about Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
Yeah.
Joan Collins.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Elizabeth Taylor is Star Trek.
I forgot. It's Joan Collins.
Joan Collins. I knew what he meant. That's probably the best episode. It's okay.
Oh my God, I love that episode. There are so many. I love like everybody was posting the green woman. Like Mance posted a photo of the green women and stuff. I mean, I love this show. I just don't love it as much as Star Trek: The Next Generation, because that's my Star Trek for me. So I would say A for Star Trek.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar situation for me, and it's kind of similar to Flying Circus, where I like the original Star Trek. I like the cast kind of more than the overall episodes. I'll watch it for the cast and for all the characters and whatnot. But I'm the same thing. I grew up on Next Gen. Next Gen was my jam, and Next Gen to me is like S tier Star Trek. I can just watch it anytime. It's my comfort show. But I do like the original Star Trek, so it's a very similar thing with like SNL and then like Flying Circus. It's like Star Trek Next Generation and then like Star Trek. So it's gonna have to go at A tier for me personally. But yeah, it's kind of similar basically to what Dan said. It's like that's just Next Gen is my jam. I just can't quite put it up in the same tier as like I would put like Next Gen. So, but it's very good. I still think it's a very good show, and there's a reason why people still go back and watch it. It's very good. Jordan?
Yeah. I'm just sad they didn't get to finish their 5-year mission. They're supposed to have a 5-year mission. They don't finish it, but yeah,
the animated series they did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah. So I'm kind of with Austin and Dan in the same train of thought. But the thing is, though, we don't have Star Trek: The Next Generation in this episode. So for this episode, I think I still got to give it an S because I think that it's just so influential. And it just started it all, and there's just so many great episodes. Like one of my favorites is the one where you first see the Romulans and they introduce that. Or like there's one with a mirror universe. That's pretty cool.
Mirror.
They went to multiple mirror episodes, I believe.
Yeah, right. But there's just so many, and like you introduce Captain Kirk is always the ladies' man. He gets the girl like every time. I don't know why nobody else got the girl, but he always did. And then Spock, Leonard Nimoy. So I never got to meet Leonard Nimoy, but I was at a convention where he was on screen doing an actual message to like the convention that I was at, kind of talking to. So that was kind of cool. And then I was at a convention with William Shatner, but the line was like almost 2 hours long to meet him, and so I decided to go walk around. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That is a good one.
People get a life.
Like, you people get a life. What's wrong with you? Yeah, but that same convention, I was walking around, and Carrie Fisher was supposed to be there, and she came out to her booth earlier than she was scheduled to. So I was first in line. I got to meet Carrie Fisher. So that was cool. That's a cool kind of trade off, but I still think that the show is just so influential and just so good. And just introduced a lot to like sci-fi and pop culture and all that stuff that's still around today.
Idea of transporting.
Yeah. Right. So I'll say S tier. Yep.
All right, Jeremy, I have a feeling what he's going to say, but go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, I just got to say, I don't get this. Well, the Next Generation's an S tier, so this can't be. Next Generation, original Star Trek, and DS9 are all easy S tier shows for me. Like, you can have multiple S tier shows in a franchise. Those are like three of the greatest shows ever for completely different reasons. Deep Space Nine went into the ongoing story arc. Next Generation went into the characters and expanded the universe and did its own thing. But Star Trek, the original series, so groundbreaking, all filmed, in that film style that still I think is probably the prettiest of all the series to this day. Just go back and watch those old episodes remastered. They still look so great. Just the iconic characters. It was supposed to be a vehicle for Shatner Nimoy, but every cast member really shone. Uhura broke so many boundaries, just being a major character on that show. It was important. It had some of the greatest writers, some of the same writers that were on the Twilight Zone, like Richard Matheson. So many, concepts that came from it. Yeah, the last season it fell off, but I'll give you the first 2 seasons of Next Gen. I mean, just because you have a weak season doesn't mean it's not an all-time iconic show. And my personal favorite episode is Amok Time, which is the one where you get into Spock's mating ritual and more into the Vulcans and everything. And I love the Klingon episodes as well. But yeah, it's always been Star Trek over Star Wars for me. I love Star Wars, but it was kind of more my brother's thing. Star Trek, I just love that weighty sci-fi where they're talking about ideas, and it's about trying to do the right thing and how hard that can be. And that's always kind of been what's at the core of all the best Star Trek, until people ruined it with some weaker stuff. They kind of forgot that. So the original, it had that core concept. And I also love that the first season, it was almost like a lot of the episodes were kind of horror. Like it had kind of a horror sci-fi vibe to it. That changed over time, but I love that about the early episodes too. And Gene Roddenberry, Gene Kuhn, legends, and for what they did with TV. So S tier for me.
Okay.
Dan, I got to meet Scott Manson, tell him how much I love this podcast, which is real. Yeah, and he high-fived me and everything. So I just had to mention that.
I'm gonna meet him someday.
He's a great guy.
But I want to open up a wormhole here, but oh shoot, now I'm losing my train of thought. It's a good point. I don't know. I'll think about it later. Sorry.
Bring it back up.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all good.
Okay. All right. So, all right, Maria, you got that one on your rebound there. So there you go. Dan, what you got next?
Yeah. Look, I nominated on the last episode a show with an amazing cast, but I would argue this cast is probably
I know where you're
even
going.
better cast.
Dude, I
I'm
know where you're
talking
going.
about Danny DeVito, Tony Danza,
Christopher
Lloyd.
Judd
Andy
it was
Kaufman.
like-
Don't forget about Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, of course.
Yeah.
I loved watching Man on the Moon because you got the inside baseball on Taxi a little bit. This show was so freaking good. I loved this show. It had a gritty feel to it, but it also was set based because it was a sitcom and stuff. But the stories were wacky. The stuff was just interesting. And, it was just like, these felt like real people to me. It was like, these were really people doing a job, talking, having relationships. It's like, we don't have shows like this anymore where it just feels real. It feels like you can reach through the TV and touch it because it was real. It's really going on. And I mean, as a kid, I was like, wow, this is the kind of shows that I want to watch growing up. And I watched all these episodes. I love these people. And the fact of the matter, how these people turned into mega stars afterwards, some of these people did. It just shows you how great this show was and how before its time, it cast all these people in the show, So I just love this show, Taxi, and I can't say enough about it. This is if there was ever an S tier show, it's on the level of All in the Family is Taxi, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds good. Austin.
No, I love Taxi. I think it's one of the best sitcoms of this era of the 70s. Brilliant ensemble cast. Yeah, Danny DeVito just screaming and yelling at everybody in the booth. Christopher Lloyd just being a weirdo hippie, just spouting, whatever comes into his brain with no filter. I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan. I love Andy Kaufman. I wrote a college paper on Andy Kaufman. I know he didn't exactly love his time on Taxi behind the scenes because he basically just did it for the exposure and for the paycheck so he could do other things. But he's still very funny on the show with his foreign man character. Yeah, Judd Hirsch is great. Just a brilliantly casted, brilliantly written sitcom. I think Taxi's great. So I'll go S tier for Taxi.
But I remember what my quick little point is going to say about Star Trek now, that I feel like nowadays they're making Star Trek for people who love big blockbusters and that kind of stuff, but they're not really making it for the Star Trek fan. And I hope someday we get back to it where it's like the core of what Star Trek's all about. So
Strange New Worlds is close. It's close enough, but
we're getting back there. Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, but as far as Taxi goes, though, Taxi is an all-timer. Yeah, Taxi is just so good, and that cast. Yeah, I mean, I think it's where Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman met, and they got married. I think I want to say maybe they met before that, but I feel like it was this, and just like Andy Kaufman. I mean, Carol Kane, the one from The Princess Bride, playing
Blanca's girlfriend,
the girlfriend, that's good stuff. And then Jeff Conway in there, Tony Danza. That's probably like the first that I saw him, and just really good stuff, and just really funny, and you just feel like they're like really like doing this job, like you say, Dan. They're just working. Everything looks grimy and kind of dirty, and you really get a feel for New York, and then driving these cabs around, but it's really funny, and just really great. But I haven't seen it for quite a long time, so maybe if it's streaming somewhere, I got to go back and revisit it. But
I think
it's streaming somewhere. So but I'll say S tier for Taxi.
I've mentioned my dad a lot. He got me into a lot of shows, but this was one of my mom. My mom thought this was the funniest show ever. She just thought Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd, like there were no two funnier guys for her. So it's really, it means a lot to me. It's a great show. I think it was really a pretty innovative show. I think it was James Burrows, right? So James L. Brooks, I think, worked on it. So some real heavy talent. I remember there was the episode which was the backstory for Jim, where you find out how Christopher Lloyd's character became like a pothead in the first place. That was yeah, that was innovative. And then you had the episode which is what they call like a bottle episode, where it's Latka and Carol Kane and Andy Kaufman just in like a car. They're like frozen in the snow, and the whole episode's like them in the car. It's just they did a lot of cool things that were just really innovative, and it's really funny. And it gave me one of my earliest crushes for Mary Lou Henner, who is just an all-timer. So yeah, it's definitely S tier for me as well. It's for you, Mom.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah.
I don't like it. I thought it was okay.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm gonna B, maybe C tier. I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was disgustingly dirty. As far as like the actual grime, I get you got the feeling of it.
A lot of grease, a lot of car grease.
Look at dirty things and have
It takes place in a garage. What do you expect?
Yeah, right.
Dirty things. I didn't like it. So yeah, I can't put it up there. I'd put it in B.
Oh,
sorry.
Not
my favorite. It's okay. Not gonna lie.
Hey, to each their own, I guess. Yeah.
But it's still got 4 for now, so it'll be just behind the Twilight Zone, actually. So it's still up there. All right, so it'll hang. All right, I guess it's on to me, right? Batman, bro. Come on, man. I got this box set. It's on my wall back here, still right behind me somewhere. I know it's hard to see, but I have that giant box that they put out years ago, the Blu-ray set. Great stuff, dude. I love this show so much. And people, it's funny. I get people like bagging on me saying I always need to have like comic book stuff be like super serious and whatnot, but like I love Batman and I think it's perfectly in the right context. Like I think this show is super entertaining. Adam West and Burt Ward, just I think they were completely self-aware of what they were doing. It's a different take on Batman. There's never been a wrong take on Batman. I mean, this is like the pure basically a cop detective Batman, and it's a lot of fun. The fight scenes are so, I mean, boom, pow, zap, kablam. I mean, it's just always goofy and silly with the music. The cast of characters that played the villains, man. I have dressed up as Burgess Meredith Penguin numerous years in a row for Halloween. I love the Penguin. Yeah, Cesar Romero is the Joker. So much fun. Frank Gorshin. Even the weird like Vincent Price, showing up as like Eggman. Just like weird stuff throughout the show. It's totally bonkers, but ridiculously entertaining. And the fact that each one was like a 2-parter and always had some crazy cliffhanger, how they're going to get out of some trap, that the villain said. You had to tune in to find out how they got out. And it's always some silly reason they got out, but it got you to tune in. Just
tune in next time.
I think the series is just pure fun and just it's so much fun, easy to binge and watch a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Batman 66. Love it.
Batman Rules is in my top 5 for this whole era. I think it's really good and just so much fun. Yeah, I've seen almost every episode probably, and just the cast of characters like Adam West was just so perfect for this type of Batman, just like so much fun. And then you throw in Burt Ward, but then all the different characters. You got Eartha Kitt being the Catwoman, or you got John Aston being the Riddler, or like Cesar Romero, of course, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. Like just all that stuff is just like so fun, and like, it's just like the definition of fun. It's just like they're out there, they're having a good time. They're like solving different mysteries. He's being the detective, but just kind of being a little campy, a little cheesy. And I don't mind a little camp and a little cheese if it's done right and it's fun, And I think that they do it right here, and it's just so good. And that Batmobile is just so iconic. Awesome. I mean, who hasn't been to a convention? I know I've been to multiple where they have that Batmobile there, so I've sat in it before, and it's just great. So
atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Roger.
Yeah, right.
That's great. And I think they knew how self-aware it was when everything in the Batcave is labeled. With like particular labels in every episode. It's a different machine that has a different label. It's ridiculous, and it's hilarious to watch. I think these guys knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh yeah. So. It was an easy S tier. Yep.
Jeremy, what do you say about Batman 66?
It's one of the classics. I mean, it's great comic book, great satire, humor, fun, everything that you want. So 60s, so of its time, but still kind of like, because of the comic booky elements, is still kind of out of time. You can always watch it, go back to it. It's amazing how many people they got on to be the villains. Like, they got serious film director Otto Preminger to play Mr. Freeze. It's like, it's crazy the people that were on there. And I think I even heard a rumor that like John Wayne wanted to be on as one of the villains, and they were like, that might be going a little too far, John. But yeah, it was incredible stuff. A little personal note: my dad actually went to church with the actor that played Chief O'Hara, so I have like a little bit of a familial tie to it as well.
It's good to see them out there doing their job.
I'm
yeah.
Going to the church here in Southern California, so yeah, it's an S tier for me.
Yeah, no, they had the Green Hornet. I was gonna say the Green Hornet crossover.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
that
episode's great, because if you watch the final one of the final fights, or when they first fight each other, watch Bruce Lee kicking the shit out of Burt Ward in that scene. It's great. He is beating the shit out of Burt Ward, and it's not even close. It's great. That crossover was a lot of fun.
It's a good time. So, Maria, what do you say?
Oh, I loved it. We watched it every. It came on like Tuesdays, Thursdays, like 6:30. And I tell you what, we were glued to it. My brother and I. It just was fun. I mean, it was, and the villains. I mean, like he said, they're talking about a cast of characters. I mean, Cesar Romero was excellent. Of course, the Joker takes a different cast today, when they're more serious about everything. But it was, it was really fun. I mean, I hate to say this, but poor Adam West. He was an object of lust for a lot of us girls in that time zone. And it was like, God, I wish I could see more of his face. Why doesn't he take that towel off and all this stuff? It's like, we wanted to see him. But he was hot. He had a good voice for sure. And he was, he knew they all knew what they were doing. This wasn't like, they weren't making fun of it, but they were also having fun with it. So that's good, So I definitely can see it in the nest here. That's fine.
All right.
Damn.
I'll tell you what, Austin. I mean, this is definitely going to be brought up by me at some point on this. I probably watched every episode of this at least 10 times. I just, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. Cesar Romero as the Joker. But my favorite, and maybe it's underrated, but I think I just, to this very day, I'm still, that's why that episode of Star Trek is so much my favorite, is the Loki and Beale episode. I was just such a huge fan of Frank Gorshin. There wasn't enough Riddler episodes for me. I wanted Riddler every episode if I could. That's how much I love the Riddler. Even like Liberace was a villain. I mean, I don't remember if anybody brought up Liberace, but he was a villain. And this show was so damn good. And I saw like a making of the show. You see him climbing up the building, and actually what they're doing is climbing on the floor. It's how they set the camera to make it look like climbing up a building, but they're climbing on a floor. It's like the tricks of Hollywood were like so cool to learn the things of how they made this show so cool, Of course, Burt Ward turned out to be a jerk, and Adam West was a really nice guy. So what are you going to do? I met these guys probably 30 years ago. Burt Ward, a jerk. Adam West, amazing. The nicest guy you could ever want to meet, in my opinion. So yes, S tier all the way.
Yep. And also, probably one of the best theme songs for like this era.
God.
And by the way, Dan, Jim Carrey was just doing Frank Gorshin.
I know it was. I know it was. So that tells you right there. One of the greatest comedians of all time, how much he loved Frank Gorshin, because look, he mimicked him in Batman Forever. So there you go.
All right. Well, there we go. All right, Jordan, what you got next?
Well, speaking of really iconic theme songs, and probably one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, which when we get to the all-time list, this is going to still be a contender for me on the all-time list. But I got to go with I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
So I'm a massive I Love Lucy fan. Like, I've seen every single episode multiple times. And on the show, still to this day, it still comes on reruns. Like, they're still showing reruns, and yeah, just like it's just really good. And yeah, Lucille Ball, who actually, I mean, if you know the history, had a huge hand in the original Star Trek series, getting that going, you know. So and there's just so many great episodes. I mean, that just are so funny. My favorite though has to be the one within the chocolate factory, eating all the chocolates, because I actually worked in a chocolate factory, so we would always talk about that, because I was actually at a conveyor belt kind of checking, doing the quality control thing. But then when she does like a TV commercial, like the
Vitamin regimen.
Yeah, the vitamin regimen, and like doing that, doing the Harpo Marx thing. When she gets pregnant, just really good. When she does the Italian movie, I mean, there's just so many. Like I could go on, just so many great episodes. I mean, I think John Wayne was even on one of them, and yeah, it's just really good, and like still hilariously funny to this day. Yep.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm really good at my job on StreamYard. Just like
yeah, right.
That's right. I'm a multitasker. That's right.
And anytime that there's even references, like if you've seen the movie Rat Race, Cuba Gooding Jr. is like driving a whole bus full of like
Lucy's
as Lucy. Then when the bus crashes, they're like, oh.
And then they run into a bus full of Ricky Ricardos. It's great.
Yeah, right. yeah. But it's good stuff. But yeah, this is just one of the all-time sitcoms for me. So I'll say I Love Lucy for S tier.
All right, Jeremy, what do you say about
Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of the greats. I think it maybe more than any other 50s show still holds up, still really funny, so innovative. Like Desi Arnaz developed the 3-camera technique that became synonymous with sitcoms for that show. Just and having a woman kind of being at the helm, being the creative engine, was so landmark for the era. And yeah, it's just still really funny, and it has the greatest compliment a show can ever have. Weird Al did a song dedicated to it in the song Ricky. So if it gets a Weird Al song, it's automatically S tier.
Hey,
so
Ricky,
S tier for me.
Yeah. Yep. But Maria, what do you say?
I'd say the same thing. The grapevine one, or the grapes, smash the grapes at their feet, was my favorite episode.
Oh yeah.
I do love the chocolates. I also love the Vita Vita Benjamin, but she just kept getting into such ridiculous things. After a while, when she started tearing out into other things, I didn't like it as much.
The other shows, never could live up.
Yeah. I mean, you tried to magic in a bottle there. It didn't need to capture twice, and she did. She was so innovative, and the whole thing was just made so many advances for television viewing and all the things she did with her money. I mean, smart women like that, you just gotta wonder why they didn't get more recognition back then. Of course, I know why they didn't, but I mean, I wish they had.
Yeah,
because some of these women have done some phenomenal things.
Different generation,
and she's responsible for Star Trek. She got
she exactly production to be done. So I think it's really interesting that people are finally catching on to what kind of geniuses those women were back then. But I think this is definitely S tier. I mean, you can't get away from that. She's just iconic, and even though I've seen them all, I still, when it comes on, I stop. I need to know all what they're gonna say, and I know there was problems with Fred was supposed to be some sort of weirdo. I don't know all the details on that, but I that Vivian Vance was neat, and I liked her a lot too. I just thought great show.
Yeah, absolutely.
One for me.
Dan, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, Jesus. I mean, I Love Lucy is such a great show, but then the movie on Amazon really gives you like perspective on that show so much, seeing the behind the scenes, seeing what she dealt with, and how yet she still came out there and killed it every episode. Desi Arnaz killed it. Oh, say I'm home,
Yep.
I mean, it was so. I mean, what a phenomenal show.
I was pretty hot too, by the way.
Say what?
He was pretty hot too.
When you said what you one of the all-time like songs and shows, I didn't think this is what you're gonna bring up, Austin. Jordan, but it's a great show. There's no doubt about it. I would definitely say, for me, A.
All right.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Well, Austin.
Yeah, no, I used to see I Love Lucy a lot on Nick at Night. I mean, this is one of those like Nick at Night staples. Yeah, I got really into it. It's just very bouncy and like it just moves. And yeah, the performances are what it's done. I think one of my favorite scenes is when Lucy and Ethel get arrested and they're rattling off the charges they're going to charge them with, and you see their faces just jaws dropping and just like their eyes bugging out, and just it's really great. Again, physical performances, good physical comedy, which I always appreciate. And it holds up, and it's still very, very entertaining to this day. So yeah, I'll put it in a S tier for I Love Lucy. So it'll be right next to the Twilight Zone somewhere in there. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm texting. All right. So there we go. We are back around the horn. Jeremy, what you got next?
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Austin is of the opinion that SNL is the only sketch comedy show that should be an S tier. But I will make one more argument.
I never said that. I said I don't hold Python as high.
Okay. Well, I'll make another argument for sketch comedy. What is the only other thing that can make sketch comedy as great as SNL? Yeah, if you put a pig in it, if you put a frog in it, and if you put a whatever in it, and that is the Muppet Show. I think that this is the only other show that we haven't picked yet that is this high for me. I think it's innovative. It's still so funny, so creative, so cool to go back and watch today. It was always great for the family, but you don't have to be a kid to enjoy it. It was kind of meant for the whole family, for adults. All the big stars of the day were on there, and some of the greatest of all time, Steve Martin and so many people, Carol Burnett, so many great people hosted, and just incredible sketches, incredible musical numbers. And I just think Jim Henson was such an innovator, and he made some great films, but all of the techniques that kind of led to those movies, like the Muppet Movie and Labyrinth and all those things, were really developed on the Muppet Show. He started off with Sesame Street, some other things, a little bit on SNL, but the Muppet Show, you really see it all come together, and just the emergence of these characters that are just still part of our culture, with Kermit and Miss Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie and the Statler and Waldorf, my personal favorites, the old men that they're just iconic characters, and their whole characters were perfected on this series. They've been great in the movies and in subsequent shows, but I think the best of them was captured in this original format. So the Muppet Show is my next S tier.
Yeah, sounds good. Maria, what do you say?
Well, I got to say this.
Yay!
I love those
nice.
Those things are so cool.
Hear me?
Yeah.
I love the show, but I would not put it in an S tier. I'm sorry to tell you that, Jeremy. I know you love it. I was older when it came out. My kids loved it. We watched it together, and they were a lot of guest stars that were fun. I mean, Pierce Brosnan, I know, for example, tried to do fire eating and spit out a thing of gas and almost set fire to the whole set. Was, kind of like one of the funny anecdotes about how that was made and everything. But I think it's funny and everything. I just don't think it's an S tier. I'll put it in A, but I just think if you only get like 10 out of all the things of all time, in this time frame, rather, I don't think it's up there quite that high, but I think it's really good. And I'm sorry that I might have to rain on your parade and put it in A.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I disagree strongly. That's fine.
Disagree strongly.
I think it's better than I Love Lucy.
Oh, really? All right.
Wow, I gotta watch myself.
Yeah. Well, Dan, what do you say about the Muppet Show?
Yeah. Okay. Look, I was into different kinds of shows, and I'll be honest, I was into some really kind of raunchy shows at 7, 8 years old when the Muppet Show was what 79?
It started in 76, I think.
What do you consider a raunchy show when you were 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Now, I'm telling. Well, I wasn't watching the Muppet Show because I wasn't conscious enough to watch shows at 2 years old. So I got into start watching a lot of these shows when I was 6, 7, 8, and the Muppet Show had kind of passed me by. But I did like the Statler and Waldorf guys. Yeah. I did like those guys. There was some things as the years have gone by that I would watch the Muppets and I'd like, oh, I missed that, or I was like, oh, okay, and so I don't like love this show like the people that like literally love this show, but it's not a bad show at all, and it's a really good show. And it's a really fun show, and there was some really good elements and stuff. So I definitely put this in A.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you say?
I love Jeremy's assumption that because I put SNL in S tier, I can't also put Muppet Show in S tier because I love the Muppet Show.
There you go.
Muppet Show's awesome. I don't appreciate the condescension, sir. Look, it's on my list for this episode. Yeah, my personal ones, dude. I love the Muppet Show, man, and I've only grown to appreciate it over the years as I grow to learn more about Jim Henson and appreciate the love that he put into the show. That Jim Henson Idea Man last year was one of my favorite movies last year. That documentary was awesome. So getting to see how much care he put into that show and just being like this perfectionist that just wanted to be, the best that he could possibly be. All the guest hosts. I'm a big Blazing Saddles fan, so anytime Harvey Korman showed up, which was quite a lot. I love Harvey Korman, showing up on there. I think he was a goofball and he was fun and got to cut loose a little bit. Just do really silly stuff. The Mana Mana song is great. I still hum that every now and then. Great stuff, man. I love the Muppet Show, and I've gone back and watched it ever since they put it up on Disney Plus and whatnot. I'll put it on occasionally and just let a few episodes run, and it's really great. So I actually love it more kind of now than I did as a kid. Actually, it's become a weird thing where it's grown in my estimation.
It actually has
Muppet Babies. Like I watched Muppet Babies like when I was a kid. Just a cartoon on Nickelodeon.
It has more adult sensibilities.
But like as I've gotten older and appreciate the aesthetics behind the Muppet Show and even just watching the craftsmanship behind it, I've also appreciated more as an adult. So I dig the Muppet Show, man. I'll give it an S tier. I dig it, man. Yeah. Jordan.
Well, yeah, so I'm a huge Muppet Show fan, and also agree with Brian here that the Mark Hamill.
Yeah, it was so good. That's a classic.
Playing Luke, that's good stuff. But yeah, Muppet Show is great, and they haven't really been able to like recapture that magic as far as the show goes. Now with the movies, kind of, but. Because
the audience, they're more sophisticated now. They don't.
Yeah, because
because
like the Muppet Christmas Carol, I'm a huge fan. Or Muppet Treasure Island, or like some of those. But and probably my favorite Muppet's always been Gonzo. I'm a big Gonzo fan. But
he's funny.
I think it's really good. And I actually kind of like the one that they tried to do on like ABC, those little kind of more like edgy or whatever. Like I appreciated that, but it didn't last. But I just think that it's really, really good. And seeing that the Jim Henson Idea Man, it like really opened your eyes to like how big that show actually was. I didn't know that they filmed it over in England or wherever, and like over there, and like the amount of like just A-list stars that were just chomping at the bit to be on the show. They had to turn people down because they just didn't have enough room.
Holding up their arms all the time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. Because you had like Steve Martin, but then you had like Peter Sellers, you had Elton John on there, Johnny Cash, Vincent Price. I mean, Gene Kelly, just Julie Andrews, just so many, just like big names of the time that just they all wanted to be on it. So that's pretty cool. And I think that it's really good. Now it's an S tier, but when it comes to the final voting, it may end up being just slightly lower, but I'll still give it the S tier because I think
So yeah. It's 3-2, so it's on the bubble. It'll hang on for now. Yeah, again, we'll see where we kind of pan out. It's getting a little crowded up there. We'll see if it hangs on. All right, so Maria, what's your name?
My turn again.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Let's see what controversy I have to start today. Okay, this one. Okay, I've got one that I want to bring up, but I don't. It's not that important to me. I'm going to bring up one that I really, really loved, and I bet everybody else loved too, and that's the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Loved that thing. Watched it religiously. My daughter made her watch it too when she was young, and she asked me to find her a picture of Mary Tyler Moore throwing her hat up in the air, and I found one that was in silhouette, so that she could put it on her desk at work. She's a principal, and she, I don't know, made some symbolism to her. So I thought it was interesting that as an adult, 50 years old adult that she remembered it so well. So it's just a great sitcom. I mean, it's just the people were all hysterically funny. Oh my God, Luke Grant, the character, and Sue Ann Niven or whatever her name was, that was always fighting. And Ted Knight was just Ted Knight was just, what a loss. I mean, when he died, he was so funny in Caddyshack too. It's just amazing. But yeah, it was a great ensemble, great great show. And now, of course, as like all these other shows, they go on, try again and again, and it's not gonna ever be captured. That when the end of that was about all all of it was good there. But gotta love her. That's my pick for this time. And yes, I think she's an S tier.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds good. Dan, what do you say about the Mary Tyler Moore show?
Yeah, guys. I mean, look, I'm not like trying to do this on purpose, but I seen a lot of shows when I was growing up, and just some shows just pass me by, just like today. Just sometimes shows just pass you by, or you just don't. It wasn't something that your family or your brothers or sisters watched. And one of those shows was the Mary Tyler Moore show. We just never watched this show. It wasn't something we were like, hey, let's turn on the Mary Tyler Moore show. So unfortunately for Maria, I haven't seen it.
I know it's great. I know you're wrong. You're not arguing. You're just saying you hadn't watched it. I get it. Boys watch Means and Girls.
I haven't seen it. That's an argument.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, you're good.
No, I said you're good. You're good. I'm funning you.
Yeah. But Austin, what do you say about
No, I've seen enough of the Mary Tyler Moore show. I didn't watch it as much as like I Love Lucy and a couple of the other shows there. I've seen enough of it. It is very funny, and I actually watched it more because I had a crush on Mary Tyler Moore, and I think this might have had something to do with it. Oh my god, she has this episode that was very scandalous, for the time, but it looks like something modern people would wear to a red carpet nowadays, actually. I mostly watched it for her because I kind of a low-key crush on her at the time. But I think it's a good show. I don't hold it as high as just some of these other ones on here, so I'll give it an A tier. But I do think it's a very strong show.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not on my like classic list, my personal list.
I don't have any problem with anybody, but anything anywhere they want.
But it's good.
It's all opinions, so
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's a good show.
Well, I'll have to say that I haven't seen it, so this is just one. It just wasn't quite on my
God,
my radar so much.
Oh my God!
But I'm looking at the cast, and like it has a lot of people that.
Oh, it's so great. Great cast.
I love like Betty White, Cloris Leachman, Ed Asner, Ted Knight, of course, who you guys mentioned, Valerie Harper, John Amos. Like there's just so many that I love from that era, but I haven't seen it yet. So I'll have to say I haven't seen it. So, but Jeremy, what do you say?
Yeah, it's absolutely one I grew up with. My grandparents loved it. It's a terrific show, really innovative. One of the great, like I Love Lucy, female-led sitcoms, broke a lot of barriers, was really funny, good, just an incredible cast all around. The only reason that I wouldn't quite have it in S, it would just be right outside, is because I think there's another show with Mary Tyler Moore in it.
I know what you're going for. Yeah,
there's another show.
I was going to bring that up, but
a little more. But that's the only reason it would be just at the top of A for me. But it's a great show, and you guys should really check it out. It's so awesome, and one of the rare sitcoms that had a drama spinoff. That's what Lou Grant. That's really interesting. That's kind of how on the how. With it the show was, and dealing with topics, and that it could have that kind of impact. It's really great. And my personal crush is Valerie Harper, by the way. My mom loved Rhoda, another spinoff. So she was my.
Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's A tier for the Mary Tyler.
A tier for the Mary Tyler Moore show, and we'll go back to Dan.
Could make honorable mentions though.
I think you guys are going to kill me. I think you guys are going to kill me for this one, because this is you forget, this is a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid who when he was watching these shows, it was like, oh my God, what a life this man has. He lives with 2 women, and he's running from back and forth from these men. And he's got a crotchety landlord downstairs, and it's Don Knotts, and then it was the other guy. I mean, as a 6, 7, 8-year-old, I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't get enough of Three's Company. I mean, John Ritter to me was like ridiculously one of the funniest people I had ever seen in my entire life at this point as a 7, 8-year-old. I wanted to live the life of this man so bad when I was a little kid. You have no idea. And I thought to myself, wow, what a dream life. A single dude living with 2 hot babes. And I'm 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever. And I'm thinking about this at that age of my life. It's like, what other kids are probably thinking about the same thing I was thinking of at that age? Maybe we weren't thinking about this stuff. Maybe I'm just a dirty 6, 7, 8-year-old. Who knows? But I loved Three's Company. I got all the DVDs. I got, or maybe it's Blu-rays. I can't remember. I got about 6, all the seasons on Blu-ray or something. I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe you guys just gonna kill me and tear me to shreds on this one, but I'm just talking about what I loved when I was growing up, and one of them, Three's Company. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, Austin,
I don't think you're out of your mind. Three's Company's an S tier. Three's Company rules. This show's awesome. This show's great. It's a throwback to like just old classic screwball comedy stuff is what most of the episodes are. It's John Ritter just getting into crazy misadventures and misunderstandings and, running around back and forth and, or trying to do multiple things at once. And just, John Ritter, obviously carried a lot of the physical humor of the show, but you had the eye candy, which Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers. So obviously that doesn't hurt. And Don Knotts being the annoying, like wacky neighbor, it was always popping in and wondering what the hell's going on in there. It's a great show. And I actually got into it because I grew up with the Problem Child movies. I laid up with John Ritter, and so after the fact, I really liked John Ritter in those movies, and went back and like started trying to seek out more of his stuff. And when I found out he literally had like his own show, that he's the head of, and he's very funny and very likable in that as well. He's the heart and soul of this thing. I miss John Ritter terribly. When he passed away, that really hurt. And so I think Three's Company is great, and I think these reruns are a lot of fun. So I'll give it an S tier. Jordan?
Yeah. So I'm also a big fan of Three's Company. I actually love this show. I think it's really, really good. Yeah. John Ritter was probably the best thing about it for me, but I mean, you got Suzanne Summers in there, and back in the day, she was pretty attractive, and I kind of followed her when she went to Step by Step, that sitcom, and just him, like living with these 2 babes, and then Don Knotts, like pretty much everything that you said, Dan. It's just a great show, just wacky slapstick, kind of like Three Stooges-esque humor sometimes, and just really, really good. Yeah, it's a really fun show. Now, I didn't discover it till probably late 80s, early 90s, but all the reruns were always on, and I went back and I watched them all, because there's some shows that were old that would always come on reruns. I was like, oh, like this again, and we might get to one of them that might have a hot take on, but this wasn't one of them though. The Three's Company rules. It's just really funny and really good. So I'll say S tier for Three's Company. But Jeremy, you said.
I watched maybe every episode of this when I was a kid, and unlike you, Dan, it went way over my head. All of the I didn't. All I knew was Jack Tripper was a charming guy. I didn't really understand much else on that show, but I sure watched it. And to me, the guy no one's mentioned that to me was my favorite part of the show. Anytime he was on was Norman Fell. He was as the original the Ropers. Oh man, he was so funny. He hated Jack Tripper, and it was just always so great.
Right.
It's not quite an S tier for me, guys. I think it's silly, it's fizzy, it's still fun to go back and watch, but it's not quite up there with some of these other iconic ones for me. I think there's a cheesiness to it that holds it back just a little bit. It's always worth watching just to see John Ritter. But some of the writing wasn't always quite there for me. So I would say A tier.
Total respect, Jeremy. That
but
is such a respectful way that you said that.
Yeah.
I really like how you presented your case there.
Yeah. Maria, what do you say about Three's
I
Company?
hate this show. I thought it was stupid. Avoiding her for whatever reason. I love John Ritter, but this show blew. And the idea that you think it's as good as Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Who said that?
B tier for me, please. I don't like it at all, and I will never ever put it in here.
There you go.
She's like I hate it. B tier. So,
I'm not going to say. I'm not one of those people that does all the bottom ones all the time.
Gotcha.
I feel bad because somebody loves it. I feel bad about that, so I don't want to get crazy.
But you remember when I was
knock on Maria's door.
Whatever.
I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Like I was
but not
in
Maria.
my early.
I think boys like the shows like that. I
exactly.
That's true.
No, you hit the nail on the head, Maria. You literally hit the. I think boys do.
Yeah, I mean,
like this show. Yeah,
that's their thing. You know, the goofy humor. You know,
Yep.
all that stuff. Yeah, I get it.
All right. Well, we were back on to Austin. So
yeah, man, there's a couple I want to try to get to.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going kind of sitcom heavy lately. Let me go a different direction. Well, no, I mean we'll get back to that, but let me go a different direction. I'm gonna go with a I think one of the great I mean, I know Muppet Show is kind of a children's show, but one of the great inspirational children's show of all time. I'm gonna go with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh man, Austin, you stole my next pick, but that's all right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think even going back and watching it now, I think this show is so ahead of its time and what it was doing. No, I think just one of the great, like, good, genuinely good people of all time. Like, you never heard a bad thing about Mr. Rogers, and for a good reason. He actually was a great guy. I think this really set apart from other children's shows in that he didn't like talk down to kids. He just talked to kids like, normal and just explain situations. It was groundbreaking that he would talk about like divorce, or he'd talk about war or what's going on in the world, and just try to explain things and how people behaved. And the way he would just kind of be fascinated by the things when you go out on these little field trips and explore different places and whatnot and different professions. It was really fun. And you had the little puppets and the little train sets, and all the little things that I loved as a kid. And when you find out there was like a guy just playing the piano like along with the show as he was walking around just improvising, is really fascinating. Just playing along with him is great. So just a really unique show, and there's a reason why it lasted for like 40 years. I mean, and just everybody knows Mr. Rogers, and I don't know anybody that doesn't know. And I will still go back and watch clips and just be fascinated by just the process of the show. So I'll go with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for S tier. Jordan?
Yeah. Well, you hit the nail on the head for me. This was like probably one of the most influential shows of my childhood. Like Fred Rogers, that man was just like one of the greatest human beings. Like I get kind of like even chills just like thinking of the guy, because he's just so kind and so nice, and like he wants to do so much for the world, and especially for children. Like just like all the different topics that he wasn't afraid to hold back on. Like death and like divorce and like I don't know, like sometimes parents have to say no, or like he brings in the boy in the wheelchair kind of thing to say that people are different and that's okay. Or like he always told us when I was a kid, he's the one that told me I was special, and that there's never going to be another person like me, and there never ever will be ever. And just like all those things that he would say, and he would come up with like even songs I remember to this day. What do you do with the mad that you feel? And like all the different songs, like you are the one, you are special, or like all that stuff. And then like just all the little characters, like me and some friends growing up, whenever we'd see the mailman driving by, we'd shout Mr. McFeely out the window, or like just him going on like little adventures over to the guitar shop, and the guy's playing the guitar, or like to the bakery or that kind of stuff, or the handyman, like all that. And then going into the make-believe world, I mean, just so many, like all the little characters, and like he does pretty much most of all the voices for all his make-believe characters. So King Friday and like Lady Elaine, and they had a little cat, the meow meow meow
Daniel
cat.
Tiger.
Yeah,
And then
Daniel Tiger, which is still going today on like its own little spin-off thing.
Yeah.
It's on an animated show. Yeah,
but like and also the documentary, like I went to go see the Won't You Be My Neighbor twice in theaters, and it made me cry like both times. Like when he goes to try and petition before Congress for public television, and then he just tells a story, and I think maybe if he says some of the lyrics to one of his songs, and then the judge is like, all right, you got your money, you got your millions or whatever, just convinced them, like just a great guy. And then also like there's nothing like watching clips of his wife too, going on like Jimmy Fallon or going on these late night talk shows. She was a sweetheart too, but then even tells some some stories that like he would get upset, he would get mad, he wasn't a perfect guy. So those were kind of fun to kind of hear those too. So yeah, this is an easy S tier. So yeah, S tier. But Jeremy,
yeah. I mean, I think pretty much any kid of a certain era, Mr. Rogers was so important. He taught you values. You know, I used to watch the show before I went to school in the morning, and it was just so important to see the different things that he did. And as particularly when I was really young watching it, just the idea that you could have a train, a little toy train that went in through a hole into like a make-believe world. It was just, it got your imagination working, and was such, low budget. It was just, you don't need all of the effects and everything to have imagination and whimsy and love and everything that he did. And then when the documentary Won't You Be My Neighbor came out, my wife and I went and saw it and like cried through the whole thing. It's just his legacy is just still so important. And definitely an S tier for me.
But yeah, also I remember when he passed away, because it was 2003. I was a senior in high school, so I remember it, and I remember just I had to sit down for a second and just kind of think about it, and even shed a couple of tears while I was a senior in high school, and like tried to hide so no one could see me. But yeah, so I remember that too. But Maria, what do you say?
Oh, it's definitely S tier. Mr. Rogers is everybody's friend. I mean, my kids are so soothing. His soothing voice is just, and then after he died, I guess is when I learned about the helper quote, where he said, his mother would tell him when he was scared, always, news stories, always look around for the helpers. They're the ones that were, are doing, you always find people who are helping. And I thought, what a great guy, what a great stuff, all the stuff that came out of his mouth. I kind of thought the train and the make-believe was kind of silly because my kids were the ones that were into that. But then, there was lessons there, and I get it. To me, it was so simplistic. I was like, why are you bothering with this? But the kids loved it, and they bought into it, and it was great. And Daniel Tiger, my grandson, talks about, I'm a big helper, all the songs on there, and I'm like, oh my God, So I had to watch it, but it's also good. I mean, can't say too much about him that isn't good, because he's just do great. He's a good guy, one of the good guys.
But and then also the like little number code.
Yeah.
There you go.
Instant nostalgia.
Yep. I was gonna say the little number code that he had that was like 143 for I love you, that his wife kind of told on the late night show.
Really?
Because one is I, it's just one letter, and then 4 is love, and 3 is you, because they're all like 4-letter, 3-letters. So but Dan, what do you say?
Yeah, we had reading Rainbow last. And that was like Reading Rainbow was like the 80s, whatever, 90s and this was like the 70s and before. So it was like they like bookend of these two great educational PBS shows that like if you're old enough, you remember this show, then Reading Rainbow. So you have these two phenomenal like educational shows that really are just incredible shows. And the documentary really brought me back to it too, Jordan. Why that? Don't get me started on the documentary branch, bunch of idiots. This movie should have been nominated for best documentary that year. Just like Superman should have been nominated this past year. That's ridiculous. The documentary branch, just because people like something, that means we can't vote for it. Give me a break, guys. And it's a celebrity doc. Who cares? It's a good documentary, and it's something that people like. Look at the star ratings and Rotten Tomatoes scores and stuff. That doesn't mean something. Then what's the point of having those types of things? Documentary branch are in another planet off on their own somewhere.
Have been for a long time.
Roger Ebert talked about that back in the 90s. That's what a comic thing. Yeah, that was a thing even for years. Yeah, he's railed about that.
But look, I saw a lot of episodes of Mr. Rogers, and I didn't see every episode growing up, but I saw a lot of episodes. I don't have the memories that some of you guys do, because I'm losing my memory and I'm getting old and stuff, so I'm not remembering things like y'all do. But this is a phenomenal show, and this is the kind of guy I want him. If I had kids, I'd want them to watch this stuff and learn about the black episode with the black man, and the water, and it's just like, guys, so far beyond its time. It's like one of the great. Yeah, definitely. You guys, we got a 5. We got a sweep here. We got 5 S's.
Yeah, let's go.
I've had a lot of good support for the ones I brought up, making good decisions.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
You got to before I could, Austin.
Yeah, right.
Thank you,
Exactly.
people.
All right. Well, Jordan, I took your pick, but I'm sure you got something else going on. What you got?
I'll go with another kind of wholesome one, but it's still a sitcom that I discovered probably about 7-8 years ago that I watched for the first time, but I watched the whole entire thing all the way through, and that's the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I hinted.
Yeah, right. And yeah, the show's so good, and I wish I would have discovered it sooner because I went back to watch it with my ex-wife and her son. We watched it together, and like he's really funny. He's only about, I think he was like 9 at the time, but he's like, I'm not gonna call it that. I'm gonna call it the Richard Van Dyke Show. So she'd come in the room and she'd be like, what are you watching? We're watching the Richard Van Dyke Show. We didn't want to call him Dick Van Dyke, but there's just so many really great episodes that are just like so good, that are just so hilarious, and that cast too. I mean, you got like Rosemary in there, you got Carl Reiner and a bunch, yeah. So you got Sally Rogers, you got the Petries in there, because Dick Van Dyke, Rob Petrie, and I've met Dick Van Dyke. He's awesome. I met him at a convention, and now I think he might be retired from maybe doing them for the most part. He was supposed to be at another convention. He had to cancel because of his old age, and thank goodness that they saved him from those California fires, because of the story where like the fire reached it, like one of the like back like things behind his house, like a shed or something. He's trying to put it out, but his neighbors came and said, so we got to get you out of here, and like grabbed him and they got him out of there and stuff. And they're able to save his house because they did a story, I think it was on like the Today Show, and like all the memorabilia that he had from this show, and like Mary Poppins, and like all the things that he's done, that would have been like a travesty to lose all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah, the Dick Van Dyke Show, I just can't say enough good things about it. So I'll say S tier.
Yeah, it's still, I think, still one of the greats. It totally holds up. It was developed by Carl Reiner. It was kind of inspired by him working on a lot of shows in the 50s, like the variety type shows. But they got Dick Van Dyke to play the role. It was iconic. It's just so sharply written. Some of the best comedic minds at the time developed it. And one of the things I love about it, I don't know if I'm coming in still.
You're
okay. Good. All right. But one of the things that I really loved about it was Mary Tyler Moore. Her character was kind of kooky, a little crazy, like she had some issues, and that showed you it didn't have to be, the perfect, all-American wife. People could be people, and it's still so great. Like if you haven't seen it, it seems like an old show you don't need to bother with. It's still just as funny as pretty much any sitcom now. So definitely check it out, and it's S tier for me.
Yeah, sounds good. Marie.
You didn't know if he was going to trip or not. You didn't know if he was going to fall over the ottoman.
Yeah, right.
I loved it. It was a great show. Still a great show. I watched reruns of it, and everybody thought she was hot. Everybody thought he was goofy and kind, and they were in love, and it was wonderful, and all their hijinks. Carl Reiner was great when he was on. I forgot about Rosemary.
Yeah, right.
What's the other guy's name? Buddy or something? Yeah, I forgot about him.
Name?
Yeah, Buddy Sorrell.
They had a lot of play in there too, and the situations they'd get in, and you could see it. And she was, as you say, a little goofy and kind of like, well, I don't know why this happened. It's like, really, Lucy, but more sophisticated in a way, and she could dress up. That's for certain. Yeah, I love that show. It's definitely S tier for me. And by the way, he's another Danville native. I hope he doesn't croak soon, because Gene Hackman is also a Danville, Illinois native. And they're all scratching their heads over that one. So
Dick's turning 99 this year. I just looked at
99.
99.
The guy over there, they got all kinds of shrines for these people. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They had a lot of people that were stars, though. So I guess that's right. So.
Yep, but Dan, what do you say?
Yeah, I saw enough of the Dick Van Dyke Show to really like this show, but I didn't see like all the episodes because it was a little bit before my time, and it was about adults, and it was about before my time. So it was something that I gravitated towards as a little kid. And I never just went back and like Jordan, you go back and you watch shows from back.
Yeah.
I don't usually do a lot of that. I very rarely go back and watch something I missed. You know,
Right.
I did it with Breaking Bad. You know, that's very rare that I'll say, oh, I missed the show. It's so popular. I'm going to go back and watch it. I don't usually do that. So I watched enough of these to say that I liked it, but I didn't see enough of it to be like, oh, this is the greatest show since sliced bread type of situation. So I would say A.
Okay.
Yeah. Austin.
No, Dick Van Dyke's an S tier. I love the show, and I got into it because of my love for Mary Poppins and Dick Van Dyke, and it would come on TV Land. I'd be like, oh, there's Bert, from Mary Poppins, and watch the show. He's a master of physical comedy. I mean, just a brilliant physical comedian. Facial expressions, his chemistry with Mary Tyler Moore was really the glue that held the show together. Yeah, and again, I almost I would watch Mary Tyler Moore, and then I go back and watch Dick Van Dyke show. It almost didn't click in my kid brain that it was the same person, just because she was younger on one than the other. But obviously I put it together later. But yeah, this show still feels very peppy and modern and very well written, and I think it's excellent. So I'll go with an S tier for Dick Van Dyke. So it's on my list. All right, so 4 and 1, so it'll be right near I Love Lucy, actually. So there we go.
All right,
Texan. A little bit of Texan. All right, so we're right bumping up on that 2-hour mark, so we might have to go ahead and start kicking those final Hail Marys and whatnot.
Yeah,
we've had some fun. And I know there's a lot more shows to still shout out, so we will do that, I promise. And that's what we're going to do, since we're kind of bumping up on that, because then we got a lot of ranking to do as well. And luckily we have 5 people tonight, so we shouldn't have any ties. So that should be good. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to move into our kind of Hail Mary last chance round. I know there's still a lot of shows still on the table, obviously. But what we're going to do is we'll go around the horn. Everybody make a little list. I'll give you up to 10. If you want to shout out any other final, you can get up to 10, and I'll go for. Hang on, Dan. Let me explain what's going on first.
I talked to Jordan, and Jordan and I were talking. And can you? Is there any way? Go ahead, Jordan. You say.
He wanted to do 12, but I was like, oh, we usually do 10.
Do 10.
So,
you do 10 every time. It's 10. It is what it is. So you got to be nitpicky. So just do 10, because I have to cross over all these, and then it ends up being.
I didn't agree to 12.
And then it ends up being a lot of stuff that I have to do. But I'll be looking for those. So what I'll be looking for is those crossovers, the ones that get mentioned by more than one person. And if it gets mentioned by more than one person, then we'll go back. I'll put it on the actual, on my little chart here, and we'll do some rapid fire voting. So it'll just be very quick, kind of letter grade voting and whatnot. So take a look at the list, take a look at your personal list, see what you got left. Anything you want to shout out you think goes in that, I would say either S tier or high A tier, something like that. Maybe don't shout out the stuff you just put in B or C, and we'll go on the horn and see what makes this. So because we have stuff that gets up in the S tier last minute, ones that we just haven't talked about yet. So that's what happens.
So just our top 10, just write them down. It can be the ones we already said. It can be,
No, not the ones we've already brought up. Anything we haven't brought up yet.
Oh, so 10 anything, that we haven't brought up yet.
Anything that's still down here in the pool. So
we only have 5, so somebody else can do more.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just a chance to get some of the ones we haven't mentioned into
some of the ones that you haven't mentioned, to get a chance to get them up into that S tier, A tier, get them on the board. So still on the table, but I guess Maria's saying she's ready to go. So I'll go to Maria. Then I'll go to the rest of you guys. So
okay, got MASH.
Again, give me a second. Let me write them down. So let me acknowledge what you got. No, you're fine. So all right, MASH will be your first one. So I got MASH. Yeah, go ahead.
Got believe it or not, The Fugitive. Nobody knows that.
Fugitive. Okay.
It was a pretty good show back then. The Monkees.
The Monkees. All right.
Dark Shadows, which I ran from the bus every day to get home at 3:00.
I swear to God, I think there's like a box set online, because that show was like
we loved it.
700 episodes or something nuts. Like the box set is like 50 discs or something. It's ridiculous. Go look at it on Amazon. It's insane. That show went forever.
Well, the movie was the most boring thing I've ever seen.
I know. Last one for me is Hawaii Five-0. I love
Hawaii
the Jack
Five-O,
Lord and
okay.
his whip around head.
All right, Hawaii Five-O, gotcha. All right.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
We'll go up the line. Jeremy, do you have your list, or do we?
I need like 1 more minute. I'm sorry, guys.
Danny, are you ready?
You'll be ready.
Yeah, I'm
too.
ready. I'm
All
ready.
right, all right. Go ahead. Just give me a second in between each one, but go ahead. All right.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard. Okay.
Chips.
Chips. All right.
The Love Boat.
Love Boat. The Love Boat.
Yeah.
All right. Now, yeah.
My friend just went on a Love
Brady
Boat cruise with the original cast.
Nice.
The Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch. Okay.
Marshy.
Alice.
Alice. Okay.
The Jeffersons.
Jeffersons. All right.
Good Times.
Good time. Good times. Good times. All right.
Don't name most olives, Tim.
Laverne and Shirley.
Mm.
How many more do I got?
I think you got 2 more.
Oh my God. All right. Sanford and Son.
Okay. Sanford.
Come on, Martha. I'm coming.
I'm coming.
God, I wish I had more. I wish you guys could give me a couple more than that. But Gilligan's Island.
All right.
That's a 3-hour tour. That was a hell of a tour, huh?
God, I wish I had
Yeah.
two more easily.
3-hour tour? No.
3 hours. Probably gonna be out there for the rest of your life.
This
Yeah.
suck, man.
All right. Now we got to be picky. Jeremy, you ready to go? What you got?
Come on, Jeremy.
All right. One that I think everyone else probably thinks is cheesy, but I think it's still an incredible show, particularly in those first seasons. That's Doctor Who.
Doctor
And
Who.
then,
Oh,
and
God.
then my
I did watch
favorite,
Doctor Who.
easily my favorite comedy that hasn't been mentioned, Soap.
Soap.
Ah, God.
And then the other great comedy, MASH.
MASH.
And then one that's very close to my heart. Again, maybe cheesy, but I still think it's great. Little House on the Prairie.
you might be up Jordan's Alex. He watched it all the time with his family.
Yeah.
Little House on
And
the
then,
Ferry.
Incredible.
My family
Yeah.
forced me to watch it.
Yeah, right.
And then an incredible show that had some great directors and great guest stars, Columbo.
Oh yeah, Columbo.
And then one of the great British shows that we haven't mentioned yet, so groundbreaking, The Prisoner. And then another one of the great, I just think it an incredible comedy, The Andy Griffith Show. Still holds
Thank
up for
you.
me.
You brought that up. Appreciate that.
Another one cheesy, but I think so great. Had great guest stars, The Waltons. That one's also kind of for my mom.
Nope, can't do
And
that one.
then another one, on that Mr. Rogers tip means so much to me, Sesame Street. And then finally another incredible sitcom from incredible writers and comedians, Get Smart.
Get Smart. All right. Sounds good.
Wow,
Okay.
Jeremy and I had 10 different ones each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
No
man.
crossover.
Yeah. I tell you, there's a lot of good stuff still on the
Next
table.
cut.
All right. So, all right. I am also gonna go Andy Griffith.
There you go.
Classic.
Glad somebody brought that up. I didn't have.
So
I only had 10
I'll
picks.
cross over Andy Griffith. I'll cross over Get Smart. Get Smart rules. Get Smart's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Don
Mel
Adams. Yeah, Mel Brooks, Don Adams. So I'll cross that over. I will also go Benny Hill. Love
Ah,
Benny Hill.
That's for the guys. That's for the guys.
My husband liked
Oh,
that.
Benny Hill. God, I love Benny Hill. Doesn't Malcolm love Benny Hill? Is it like
I love
Malcolm
Benny Hill.
has some Benny Hill? Tim?
Anyways,
Not for me.
I will also go Sanford and Son. I love
Yeah.
Sanford and Son. Great show.
Yeah.
One of the first sitcoms I ever bought on DVD. One of the first classic ones actually I ever bought on DVD. All right, and then let's see. So I'm marking them off my list. Blah, blah. Oh, the Honeymooners. The Honeymooners.
Oh,
rocks.
I forgot about the Honeymooners. Yeah.
The Honeymooners.
Me too.
I will go Mork and Mindy. Happy Days.
Let's start off with Vern and Shirley. Happy
Happy
Days.
Days.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I forgot about Happy Days. Jeez.
I thought for sure you were gonna play Happy Days, Dan.
I can't believe that. I forgot all about it.
And then the Addams Family
Yeah.
Man, oh man, this list is so.
and Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
All
I
right,
can't
all
even
right.
say F Troop. I couldn't even say F Troop because it's so.
So many.
I know.
There's a lot.
All right, so yeah, those are mine. So all right, it's up to Jordan. See what gets
Come
the
on,
shout outs. Let's see.
Yeah, so as much as I would love to have more than 10, I think we got to be strict because there's way more than 10 I want to shout out, but I just gotta be strict. But
And I just remembered one I forgot too. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
I'll shout out Land of the Lost. I was a fan of the
Sid and Marty Krofft stuff sucks. I don't like it. That's cheesy as shit.
You're not alone. It has its.
The movie's not good, but the show.
I actually like the 90s. The 90s version was pretty good.
Yeah, and then I'll shout out the Munsters.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll shout out Looney Tunes.
There you go.
The Addams Family. I'll shout out that.
Or somebody else did.
Let's see. I'll shout out SCTV, which I'm surprised.
Oh, I also forgot to mention that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'll give another shout out to Sesame Street.
Yeah.
I gotta go. WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's another good
So
one.
good.
Yeah. I'll go with Bewitched.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Yeah.
So great.
And then gosh, got 2 more left, but I got about 4 or 5 that I want to shout out. I'll give another shout out to Mork and Mindy. Sure.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. And then probably I'll go with Laverne and Shirley since it was said already. Sure.
Okay. The other one
One
that
to
I forgot. The other one I forgot that I probably would have bumped the Waltons for is Welcome Back, Kotter. I love that show.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Well, the other one that I wanted to shout out was Good Times. Dynamite.
Dynamite. All right. Well, there's a lot of good shows. I mean, it is what it is.
Got a lot of
So,
crossover though, George.
we got some crossover. So let me
much.
y'all give me just a minute to write them down to get them ready for the official voting here, and give me just a second.
Yeah.
Put them on the list here. All right. I just kind of circle them as I go, as I hear the crossover, so it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, there's a bunch. The Jefferson, speaking of another spin-off, never gonna bring that up.
One of the many spin-offs of All in the Family.
Yeah, right. One of the
That's
many.
the best one, though, right?
Yeah.
Don't you agree that's the best spinoff?
Moving on up to the East
Also
Side,
Maude, which we didn't mention. That's a good spin-off too.
Yeah. But not as good as the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
That's really the only other one I can think of that I didn't get to say. I mean, I almost said I Dream of Jeannie. I was close on that one.
Didn't we have different strokes on the list too? No one said that.
No one said different.
Oh yeah. Someone said that.
That was a 70s
Talking about
show?
Willis.
Barely.
Yeah.
It started
Barely.
in like 78, maybe.
Yeah.
It was right on the
All right, so I have 9 crossovers, so we will vote on these 9. So we'll just go in the same order every time just to save time. So we'll start with Jeremy each time. And these are just very quick, like kind of 5-10 seconds or less, rapid fire, just basically your tier, essentially.
Yeah.
And we'll see what if anything scoots in there. So
okay.
yeah, these aren't in any particular order, just the ones I wrote down as we went. So Get Smart, Jeremy.
That's an S for me.
S. Maria.
B.
Dan.
A.
S. And Jordan.
I'll say haven't seen.
Haven't seen
All
it.
right.
Okay. All right. So it'll get up in the A tier, but it'll be up in the A tier.
Yeah.
So let me scoot that up there.
So throw it up there because we'll have 3 honorable mentions. So
we might, and we'll see, because some stuff that gets bumped out of the S tier eventually, or could be, might get bumped, into the A. So let's see what happens. All right, we're going to Sesame Street, Jeremy.
S.
Maria.
S.
S. Dan.
A.
I'll go A.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame? Yeah, S.
Wow.
Okay, so all right,
All right.
2. So I will get Sesame Street up here. Okay, and that will be, let me see where that's going to be at initially. Well, again, we'll play around with this S tier with the official votes, but kind of right next to Star Trek.
Cookie Monster was always my favorite. He was the best.
Yeah.
Grover. Super Grover.
Yeah, Grover's awesome. Yeah, Super Grover.
Okay, I do love the Cookie Monster though. Cookie
And the
Monster's
counts.
awesome.
The counts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to the Andy Griffith Show. Jeremy.
S. It seems like I'm giving everything S, but
No,
What's on my list?
no. I understand. Maria, Andy Griffith.
S.
S. Dan.
Yeah, this is S.
One of the great family sitcoms of all time. S. Jordan.
I think I gotta go A on it.
Can't be.
So,
Okay.
sorry.
Give me some
All right. So it'll be right. It'll still be up there near the Twilight Zone, actually. So it's got a good shot to hang on. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. And I Love Lucy. Okay. We are going to MASH. Jeremy.
S.
Yes. Okay. Maria.
S.
Okay.
S.
Dan. I'll go B. Not a huge fan of MASH.
Whoa.
I think it's good, but
those last seasons are so great.
You
Jordan.
realize she killed the kids?
So
Yeah.
this one's my hot take of the night. I want to say D, but I'll be nice and say C because that damn helicopter came after every show that I watched as a kid. It's flying in. I'm like screw this show. I don't like it. Way too many reruns.
Hey, that's interesting. Your take is your take. That's all we need to know.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it'll be actually the same as Three's Company. So those are on the bubble. We'll see what happens. We got Laverne and Shirley had two shout outs. So Jeremy.
I gotta go A with this one.
A. Maria.
B.
B. Dan.
Oh, this is S, man. This is a great show.
It is really good.
I'll say haven't seen enough of it. Jordan.
Oh man, this is on the bubble for me. So I'll say S, but it's probably low S for me when it comes to voting.
Certainly an S theme song. Incredible theme song.
Yeah. And also
Mork and
shout out to
Mindy.
Wayne's World when they spoofed Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mork and Mindy spins off of this, and what, people like Mork and Mindy better than this?
Oh, they both spun off the Happy Days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Mork and Mindy, let's go to Mork and Mindy. Jeremy.
I love Robin. I was never huge on the show. I would say B.
B. Maria.
What was it? Which show is this again?
Mork and Mindy.
I got sidetracked looking at the monkey picture.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
like
monkey's
Mork
right
and
next to
Mindy.
it.
I'd give it a C.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah. Robin Williams is over the top all the time. Calm down.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like
He's
him.
a genius, and that's why it's
Yeah.
S.
No,
Exactly.
He's a
Yeah.
genius.
He's a genius and he's hilarious, and he's one. This is like his breakout show. S.
I won't
S.
beat him up too much.
And I'll say S, but it'll be one of those like lower S's for me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. It'll be again on the bubble. It's got 3, but it's on the bubble. It might be one of the first ones to get bumped into the honorable mentions. We'll see. All right. We'll go Sanford and Son. Jeremy.
My grandfather's favorite show. I don't know what to do because
Yeah.
I didn't watch it a lot. I saw it a few times with my grandfather. I think I'm gonna, to be really fair, I'm gonna say haven't seen on it because I mean I saw bits and pieces, an episode here or there, haven't gone back to it. I know it's a classic, but I'm gonna say haven't seen, just to be fair there.
Okay. Maria.
B.
B. Dan.
Oh my God, this is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my entire life. This is S all day, every day. This is unbelievable. This is so
I think
funny.
Red Fox is one of the funniest characters in the history of television. But S.
Okay, but there's a
Sanford and Son.
lot of really funny things on there, so it's hard to.
No,
Yeah.
good point. You make a good point.
It's the
Jordan?
golden era of sitcoms for sure.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
tough because I mentioned that I didn't love All in the Family because it's a guy just sitting on the couch spouting out stuff. But Sanford and Son does a similar thing, and I love it. But
walks around
still, like even then, I'll say A, but it'll be like a high A.
All right, okay, so let me see where it ends up. Probably around Monty Python area in the A tier.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens here. Okay. All right. Okay. We 2 more. We got Looney Tunes. Jeremy.
It's I don't have it in me to not say S for the Looney Tunes, even though I'm not sure exactly what iteration that would be. But I mean, they were all great. So
Yeah, there's so many iterations. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the basically the original shorts, the old school.
Okay. Yeah. that
yeah.
counts,
Merry
sure,
Melodies,
absolutely.
maybe. I don't
Merry
know.
Melodies,
the
yeah,
original
Looney Tunes.
theatrical shorts are absolutely S.
Yeah. Maria.
It's good. We all know that. It's iconic. I mean, but I can't do S. I'll just do A.
Okay, Dan.
There's so many S's.
I mean, I
can't do
watched my
it.
share of Looney Tunes. I watched my share of Looney Tunes, but it wasn't like my jam as a kid growing up, like some other
Jam. I see what you did there. Space Jam. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't my jam as a kid as much as like some other shows on the 80s. Remember when I brought up all those 80s animated shows, Jordan? Yeah, so I would say
Remember when this show went over an hour?
Ooh.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna give S tier. I think Roadrunner and Coyote, some of those brilliant goddamn comedy.
No,
of
you're
all
right.
time.
All right, put it S. Put it S. I changed mine to S.
Yeah.
She's just my S. Okay. All right.
Okay, sure.
Sure. All right. Jordan.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely an S for the Roadrunner and Coyote, and then also the wabbit hunting season stuff's really good too. So
All right. So Dan changed his vote. Maria, what did you vote again? A or B?
I said, I don't know. Just put it in A now. I don't remember.
And Foghorn Leghorn, I say.
I didn't want it in S.
I think you had it in. I think you had it. You said A. I think.
A,
So,
yeah.
I like it a lot. I mean,
all right, but it's 4 and an A, so it's up there.
beating it up at all.
All right.
Real here.
Okay, so we are gonna go to, and I think this is our last one. We have the Addams Family. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Jeremy.
It's really good. I think I kind of prefer the movie iteration of it in terms of the cast, so I would say A.
Me, Maria.
I'll say A too, because if I'm going to put any in this, it's going to be the Munsters. So
yeah, I kind of like the Munsters a little more,
yeah,
just
a little
slightly.
Dan.
I would say A as well, but I actually like the Addams Family more.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and it's a strong A for me, which is why I shouted out. I'll go A. Jordan.
Yeah, it's a high A for me. As
All
well.
right.
I'm more into the Munsters too.
So it's a clean sweep for A tier. Okay, so sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Clean sweep for A tier. Okay. All right. So there we go. Those are our crossovers. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of great shows still down here. Of course, you got some good television.
Yeah, there's a lot that we left on the table.
Yeah. God,
look at some of these titles I haven't seen for years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave It to Beaver down there, obviously classic.
The Monster,
Perry
Mason.
Two, I kind of wanted to say were Perry Mason and The Odd Couple. Those are two great.
Ones.
Yeah.
I didn't see Donna Reed on there, but I mean, I was in love with Paul Peterson.
Yeah, Donna didn't see Donna. There's a lot of sitcoms to choose from.
All right. All right, so let's see where we stand. As of right now, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so 6 have to go right off the bat, and then we're going to rank it. So unfortunately, what it's going to probably be is anything with only 3 S votes is probably going to be gone, unfortunately. So, that's how it works and how it kind of ends up sometimes. So unfortunately, goodbye, Mork and Mindy, goodbye, MASH, goodbye, Three's Company. Unfortunately, again, these are all had 3s and change. We have All in the Family had a 3, 1, and 1, so goodbye for that. Unfortunately, Sesame Street 3 and 2, so goodbye, Sesame Street. Unfortunately, Muppet Show 3 and 2 as well. Sorry, goodbye to that one.
That's it then. I think that's 10.
Star Trek also has 3 and 2, so this is going to be interesting.
Do some votes.
So actually, we'll bump something back up probably. So we'll have to do some voting here because that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. And Taxi is one of the first ones that has 4. So Taxi had a 4 and a B, but all these ones up here had 4 and change. Now I got to get nitpicky with the actual votes. And let's see what had 3, but the rest S's. So the 3, again, this is where my tracking of the votes keeps handy. So we'll vote on these. So we'll go. Sesame Street had 3 and 2, so that one counts. Muppet Show had 3 and 2, that also counts. We have Star Trek with 3 and 2. 3 and 2 also. See, All in the Family had 1B, so that's out. Three's Company had 1B as well, that's out. MASH had a B and a C actually, so that's out. And Mork and Mindy also had a C. Get Smart and out. So actually, those 3. Out of those 3, one of these is going to get bumped up back into the S tier. That's where we're at. So we'll do a quick vote. So you see those first 3 right there. We're voting on Star Trek, Muppet Show, or Sesame Street. You are voting on which one you think deserves to get bumped back up into the S tier. So that's what we're voting for this one, and then we'll see what makes our honorable mentions. So Jeremy, I have a feeling which one you're going to vote for, but give me your vote.
I mean, don't make me take my pictures down. It's going to be Star Trek.
Fair enough. Maria.
Star Trek. Can we do
Star Trek? Dan.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. I have Muppets higher on my personal list, but I have no problem with Star Trek being the S tier. I'll put that because it's very influential. Jordan?
Well, I want to see the original Star Trek go against Next Generation in the championship.
Yeah.
So let's do Star Trek.
All right, so Star Trek will just
fun.
squeak in at that number 10 spot. So there you go. And then I'll go back to the votes just to determine our other honorable mention because Muppet Show and Sesame Street will be 2 out of the 3 by default of our honorable mentions. But All in the Family, 3 A and a B. Three's Company had 3 A and a B, so that's also. And then MASH had a C, More Command had a C, so those are out. So we'll do one more vote quick for the honorable mentions. All in the Family or Three's Company? We're going to vote on which one stays in the honorable mentions. So Jeremy, All in the Family or Three's Company? Which one hangs
All in the Family.
All in the Family. Okay, Maria?
Neither one.
Neither?
I think you have to.
You got to vote on something.
Yeah.
I got to vote on something. All in the Family, I guess, over that other.
Boy, this is like picking between my 2 children. This is like picking between my 2 children. You make
Are those like your 1 and 2? That's like your 1 and 2,
Yeah, I guess
isn't
so.
it, Dan?
Yeah.
Nah, my 1 and 3. My 1 and 3.
Yeah.
I gotta go with All in the Family, though, guys.
Yeah. I think Archie Bunker's a little more iconic. I'm going to go All in the Family. Jordan?
I would have gone Three's Company easily, but
Okay.
We know
All right,
he doesn't
so,
like all.
All right, but Muppet Show, Sesame Street, and All in the Family. We'll keep it right there. Those will be our 3 honorable mentions.
Nice.
All right,
Yeah,
Star Trek by default will be our number 10 because it slid in there last second. Now we get into the other ones with the 4s. So I will say that SNL, Batman, and Mr. Rogers, will vote on them later, but they are all safe at the top right there. We'll vote on the actual order here in a minute because these all had clean sweeps. So we'll get to those in just a minute. But we will have to vote on some of these other ones. So let's get nitpicky here. Taxi had 4 S's and a B, so that might roughly stay there. Looney Tunes had 4 and an A, so it's slightly above that. Dick Van Dyke, 4 and an A, so it's also above there. Andy Griffith, 4 and an A, also in the same territory. I Love Lucy, 4 and an A in the same territory, and Twilight Zone, 4 and an A in the same territory. So this is going to be a little tricky. But so Taxi will stay right where it is because it had the 1B. And then all these next ones have identical votes. So this is going to be tricky. So what I usually do in this situation is we'll take this block of 5. We got Twilight Zone, I Love Lucy, Andy Griffin, Dick Van Dyke, and Looney Tunes. Give me your best 3 out of those.
Okay.
What would you vote for? And I will
3.
tally votes. Yes. And we'll tally votes and see which ones get enough shout outs, and we'll order them in the number of votes, essentially. So let me lay this out on my little thing so I can keep track. Lucy, Andy Griffith.
I think I got it.
Dick Van Dyke and Looney Tunes. Okay, so Jeremy, out of that little block between Twilight Zone and Looney Tunes, give me the 3 you think are the best out of those.
Twilight Zone, I Love Lucy, Andy Griffith.
Twilight Zone, so right in order. Twilight Zone, I Love Lucy, Andy Griffith.
Yeah,
Maria
on the board.
Twilight Zone, Andy Griffith, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, nice.
Dick Van Dyke. Okay, Dan.
Andy Griffith, I Love Lucy, Twilight Zone.
Hey, my man,
Okay.
Dan.
I will definitely go Twilight Zone for sure. I will go I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke.
All right,
Jordan.
cool.
Jordan.
I will also go the Twilight Zone, I Love Lucy, and Dick Van Dyke.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Okay. All right. So Twilight Zone stays exactly where it is right there. It had votes all around. I Love Lucy right behind it because it got 4 votes. And then no votes for Looney Tunes, so it stays where it is. And then really it stays exactly where it is. Andy Griffith and Dick Van Dyke show getting the same votes.
Doesn't Dick
So
Van
there
Dyke
you go.
go up? I
No,
thought
3
no,
votes
it was
for
3 and 3.
Andy
3 and 3.
Griffith.
So we
Oh,
had
okay.
Andy Griffith
Oh,
and Dick
okay.
Van Dyke, 3 and 3. Now we
Okay.
could do a nitpicky vote if we want to and go Andy Griffith or Dick Van Dyke. We can do that, Jeremy. Andy
We
Griffith,
could,
Dick
yeah.
Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can break the tie here with a 5. So, Jeremy, if you had to pick between Andy Griffith and Dick Van Dyke, what do you got?
And I had Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith, Maria,
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke.
I had
Bam.
Andy Griffith.
Man, this is tricky because they're both like different types of shows. I'll go Andy Griffith. Jordan.
And I'll go Dick Van Dyke.
Okay, so very close there, but it stays where it is right there.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 different types of shows here at the top. We got Batman, SNL, and Mr. Rogers all fighting
All
for
right.
that top spot.
Ooh.
This is going to be tricky. So what we will do initially, because we have 3, so we're going to vote for 2 out of these, and we'll see where we stand, and we might break down the vote once again.
So these are our top 2.
Give me your top 2 out of SNL, Batman, and Mr. Rogers, and I will tally the votes. I know it's a Sophie's choice, but we'll do that, and then we'll break it down some more if we need to shuffle it around. So, Jeremy, the 2 out of the 3, SNL, Batman, Mr. Rogers. What you got?
SNL Batman.
SNL Batman. Maria.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rogers. SNL Batman.
SNL Batman.
SNL Batman.
I'm the same. SNL Batman. And Jordan.
And live from New York, it's SNL and Batman.
Yeah, Batman. So it's the same. So Mr. Rogers stays right where it is, but now we break it down one more time: SNL or Batman. So Jeremy, SNL or Batman for number 1.
For Mr. John Belushi, SNL.
SNL. Maria.
I love Batman, but God, the variety on Saturday Night Live over the years, I mean, you just can't beat it. I'll go SNL.
SNL. Dan.
SNL.
Yeah, my fan of SNL is so damn high. SNL. Jordan.
And for the man I consider the funniest man to ever live, Chris Farley. Let's do it for the late great.
Yeah.
SNL.
All right, so it stays where it is. So there you go. We have broken it down. Excellent job, everybody. Appreciate it. It helps when you have 5, so you don't have any of these pesky ties. But there you go. So that is it, Jordan. We have siphoned through these 3 decades of television.
That's a worthy
dinner. All right. So for anybody listening, Jordan, I'll break it down one last time.
Yeah,
we'll wrap it up.
Break it down.
Let's do it. All right. So tonight for our tier ranker of 70s, TV 70s and before, our 3 honorable mentions this evening are All in the Family, Sesame Street, and The Muppet Show. And your top 10 that we have compiled tonight. At number 10, we've got the original series of Star Trek. At number 9, we've got the sitcom Taxi. Number 8, we got Looney Tunes. Number 7, we got the Dick Van Dyke Show. Number 6, the Andy Griffith Show. Number 5, I Love Lucy. Number 4, the anthology show The Twilight Zone. Number 3, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Number 2, we got Batman 66. And number 1 is Saturday Night Live.
All right.
There we go. That's it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Nice done.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
Nobody wants to kill each other. That's good.
So, Jordan, do you need to write these down for the championship, or do you want to just write it down later?
So I just took a screenshot of it. So
a screenshot.
It's like your camera.
Yep.
Yeah. He takes screenshots.
Yep, so we're all good. Yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah. So
there we go.
What will happen is the top 10 that you saw there will be in the grand championship. The 3 honorable mentions will not, but we're going to do a poll over in the Schmodown, or sorry, we used to call it Schmodown Friends and Family. But the Movie Hero Network group on Facebook, and you can vote on the top 10 plus the 3 honorable mentions over there, and you can decide your favorite over there. So,
but no, I agree with Brian. It's a great variety of a top 10 of all different shows.
I agree.
I mean it's cool because we got SNL got a variety comedy show, a crazy comic book early goofy show. We got some children's programming. We got a Twilight Zone, a sci-fi anthology. We got a couple of great sitcoms,
iconic sitcoms.
Sitcoms. Andy Griffin is kind of like a sitcom, but also a nice family message kind of sitcom. We got some cartoons, a little edgier sitcom with Taxi, and Star Trek, one of the great, of course, influential, just straight up science fiction shows of all time. So there you go. Yeah, it's a nice variety of stuff. I like that.
It is, yeah.
Genius on Andy Griffith. Nobody realized how good he was making up all that stuff and doing all that.
The genius of Don Knotts, legend.
Yeah,
right. Don Knotts. Oh yeah. All right.
Unsung hero of that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we can't get Three's Company, we'll get another Don Knotts one in there, right? Yeah. But yeah.
I don't like it.
But that was a lot of fun, guys. So that'll be the last era for TV we're going to cover, and next month we'll have our championship. So we're going to take all the top 10 from every single episode that we've done, and it's more than just like every. I think if you remember, there's so much TV going on nowadays. We had to split the 2000s the 2010s in half and the 2020s and to do multiple episodes. So we're going to see a little heavier from that era, just because there's way more TV shows. So we're kind of rightly so. But
you just got better at TV.
Yeah. Because like people say that like this might have been the golden age, but I kind of feel like, I mean, as far as like the quantity, like that might be the golden age now for the quantity and the quality, but it all depends, though. I mean, there's a lot of quality shows from every era, so it just all depends. So yeah, but
Amazing.
But yeah, that will do it.
And
So
so I'll just let you know the thing I'm going to play will be slightly longer than I normally play, of like a trailer that's like a minute and a half or so. It'll be about 3 minutes, not super long. But I found a tribute to the 75 to 80 cast members. So that's perfect
nice.
for this episode. Perfect for this episode because
That's
tribute to the ones
good
that
way to
we're kind
end
of
it.
covering here. So
Yeah.
it'll have brief little clips for all the original
Perfect.
OG cast. So that'll be perfect. So stick around for
Yeah.
that if you want to. Otherwise, you don't have to. But I'll be playing that. So there you go.
yeah, if you got to head out after we give
Okay.
our plug, that's fine
Mhm.
too. But yeah, we'll just do some quick plugs and that'll do it. So we'll go to Jeremy first. Where can we find you, Jeremy?
Just the different shows, trivia leagues that we have around here, and then on Letterbox, I'm Adam ATOM 1979 on Letterbox there, and you can see my reviews and things, and my lists that I make.
Yeah, and also you can see Jeremy dominating in the Seen and Heard movie trivia. So you'll be
now. We'll see.
in the
We'll see
champion
how
match for now.
See if that continues.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but Maria, where can we find you?
I'm here, and I'm on it. Whatever anybody asks me to be on, or I've got a few tournament things going on. I got another one tomorrow night. I got to do something with. I'll probably lose, but it'll be fun. It's a good one. I mean, it's a partner thing, so it's kind of fun, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
But I hope I'll do better than normal. I've had fun around the area. You see me here and there.
Well, good luck to you in that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But,
yeah, it's a fandom. No big deal.
Yeah, right. But Dan, what do you got going on?
Well, I would imagine you'll see me on the championship of the TV tier ranker, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe. Yeah, because I've been on every episode except for one of this.
Yeah.
I'm one of the guys that you've been counting on these TV episodes. So I'll make sure that I'm on that with the Jordan and hopefully Austin again. So, or maybe, I don't know if Austin's going to do that one or not. Most likely. Also, I'm a film critic in Orlando, Florida. I represent Orlando and Tampa. Right there, you can see it from thefourthrow.com, where I'm the owner, editor-in-chief, and head film critic from the Fourth Row. I am cranking out reviews myself and my writers that write for me. I got a early Oscar predictions article. I got TV shows. If you like some TV shows, I got another review of a TV show coming tomorrow of The Studio. Oh my God, guys, you got to see The Studio. But I've been cranking out reviews left and right on there. Also, I'm going to be appearing back for the 6th time on the Dill Pickle Movie Network on Picture This very soon. Also, I'm over on Chasing Labels, which is mostly a physical media channel, but we're going to be doing a new show over there. Whatever Jordan and Austin decide to have me on something around here besides doing TV, they kind of drag me out of the mothballs and get me on a couple things here and there once in a while. Also, I'm trying to get my YouTube show going.
Yeah, right.
Bleacher Features. I don't know. I am so slammed the next month and a half. You have no idea, Jordan. I'm so slammed. But hopefully one of these days I'll get Bleacher Features. Jeremy has been on 2 of the earlier episodes, but it's just been so hard to do it with my schedule, and
some things in the works. I'm working on a little intro for his Bleacher Feature, so hopefully that'll be out.
Oh, very cool.
I appreciate that. And my name, Dan Skip Allen, on Facebook, Letterbox, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter/X, or any variation of DP Skip Allen or From the Fourth Row. I'm the same way with Jeremy. Massive amounts of lists on my Letterbox, From the Fourth Row. So I'm everywhere. If you look for me, and you go to Google, guys, sometimes my reviews are the top on Google.
Oh, nice.
And good reviews.
That's cool. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, and Austin, what do you got going on?
Just a few things kind of in the near future. Tomorrow night here on the Movie Hero Network, you can tune in at 8:30 for Wheel of Movies, which we spun my favorite movie of all time, Aliens. So I get to try to gush about aliens and try to contain it to an hour, which is going to be very difficult.
Game over, man. Game over.
I can talk for several hours about
Did
that
you
movie.
do a Gene Hackman episode though, Austin?
Yeah, we did a Crimson Tide episode for Gene Hackman. Yep. So
did you?
Yeah.
Yep. We did Crimson Tide. I had Steven Shepard on that episode. And then, we also, right after that, will be the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast, which I do with Richie, JPO, and Jacob Barber. And that's on its own channel, but we link it in the Movie Hero Network Facebook group, so you can look for that and subscribe. We appreciate that. We're talking some wrestling, so we'll be doing a little fantasy draft. We'll be doing a fantasy draft that Richie wanted to do of United States champions. So that'll be kind of fun. And we'll just be talking about the current news. So yeah, you can check us out every week on the Lonely Marks. So that's all I got in the pipe for now. And my birthday tournament next week, all Godzilla all the time. It's gonna be fun.
We're doing a Godzilla tournament. So yeah. And then as far as what I got going on and what's going on with the channel, you can find us on all the social media if you go to Movie Hero 2121 or Jordan 83616. You can find all that down in the description. We even have an email that's in there if you have something longer, like you want to. If you ever have any ideas for any topics, we're always taking ideas for topics for these shows. So we got a couple of things in mind for some upcoming series. We might be doing movies that start with different letters of the alphabet for a possible one, because for Tier Ranker, it doesn't really matter how many that you have on there. You just talk about your favorites and that kind of thing. So because there's a lot if you're covering every letter of the alphabet, but and then let's see. You can find us on or in the Movie Hero Network over on Facebook, and you can post to your heart's content over there if you have anything that's movie related, TV, pop culture, music, all that stuff, and we'll share it out. We'll tell people to subscribe. We support each other over there. It's just a big family, and we do have a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/moviehero, you can find things like the Seen and Heard music trivia. We actually do trivia with music, which I want to try to get more of those in the books. If you ever want to do it the same way we did the Seen and Heard, you just play clips from music and just try to name it from the music clip. And we do a little TV round in the middle, so you can hear a few TV theme songs and that kind of thing. We'll also have some music tournaments, which I need to post. I'll probably be posting that hopefully soon in the Movie Hero Network group on Facebook. All the different music matchups. So we're putting two artists head to head. We did a Elton John versus Queen match. We're just doing whatever's popular, whatever people sign up for first. So if you have any artists you want to see go head to head, we'll do it on Patreon. We can play that clips from the actual songs over there without getting those pesky copyright infringement stuff. And then let's see, we're also working on I have another show that's called Best to Worst, where we're doing a big breakdown of our favorite family movies of all time, where Best to Worst is a mix of like blind ranking and tier chart ranking over there. It'll probably be about 2 weeks before we get the next episode going, because I'm going to be out of town all next week, but we'll have that soon. And then just what we have for tournament fights and tier ranker. So we will be doing next or this upcoming Friday, the next 64 unique tournament fight winners. So we already did 128. So the next 64 that have come after that, we're going to put them all in a tournament. It's going to be tough because they're all favorites, and we'll see which one comes out on top for that. And then we are finally getting to our best action movies of all time championship. We did an action mystery series where we just randomized a whole bunch of action movies. So we had 4 tournaments. We took the Sweet 16 from each one of those. They're all going in a championship coming up. And then Austin mentioned his birthday episode. That's every Japanese Godzilla movie. We'll just be doing a big tournament of all of those for his birthday. We have a best family movies, just a straight up tournament that's going on at the beginning of April. And then we'll be getting into so the championship for this particular episode, the best TV shows of all time, will be Friday, April 4th. So we have that coming up, and that's going to be crazy. And it's going to be tough. But and then our friend of the show, Malcolm Lay, has a birthday coming up. He wants to do a tournament of spoof / parody comedy movies. We'll be doing all those for his birthday. So then we have a Battle of the Hulks coming up, which will be Mark Ruffalo versus Ed Norton versus Eric Bana movies. So we'll be covering those. And then our next ladder series, because we've been covering every year of movies nearly once a month, we'll be doing Best of 1995. So we got a 3-parter in April. And then the next 3-part series, we're doing movies based on books, which we're going to have to be very picky because there's probably thousands of movies based on books. So we're going to narrow it down to the best ones that we can come up with and do a whole series. And then we will actually, near the end of April, just have a straight up movie hero mystery tournament, which we haven't done in a while. That's where we take everybody's favorite movies, we have it on a big wheel. We spin it 64 times, and the first 64 movies to pop up will be in a big mystery tournament. So we got that. And then I'll just shout out my birthday episode, which will be the last thing, which I'm doing a little something for it. I'll throw up the graphic, because for everyone's birthday, we just let people choose whatever they want to do. So I'm going to do a little game called King of the Movie Mountain. So I can't give you too much information, but what I can say is that I need about 9 to 10 people for the episode, but you're not all going to be on screen at the same time. So we're going to scoot everybody over like we do when we have tournaments or a graphic on the screen. There'll be a theme, and you have to try to guess what the theme is by just throwing out movie titles. So you throw a movie title, and then if you guess within the theme, and then you'll move up the ladder. If you get it wrong, move down the ladder. There'll be people in the green room. So if you get enough wrong, then you might fall down into the green room, and then a surprise person might pop up. So, and it won't be too long, because even though we'll have 9 or 10 people, we'll just go a little over an hour or so, and then that'll be it. So if anyone wants to play, we got spots open, and it should be a fun time. So see if you can try and figure that one out. But yeah, that'll do it though. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I thank you guys for coming on. It's nice to have a panel of people that have seen all these. 'Cause I reached out to about 10 different people, and half of the people were like, yeah, that's before my time. I haven't seen any of those shows or whatever. So yeah, but we found a great group for it. So yeah, so it worked out pretty well. So yeah, but that'll do it for us tonight. So we'll say for Jeremy Adams, for Maria Hammond, for Dan Skip Allen, for Austin Pez Howell, I've been Jordan the Movie Hero Anderson, and we'll see you next time.
A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, N, O.
Oh, my Irish mother! Ireland must be heaven because my mother comes from there!
Cartoonist Charles Schulz announced today that he plans to create another character for his popular comic strip.
What can I say besides, try these on for size, Connie Chung.
Say what?
Ooh, I just don't know what I'd do without my Vibromatic. I use it in every room in the house.
And now, she is alive again. From magic! Good night!
My wife. I think I'll stuff her.
Well, you see, there is no moral, Uncle Remus, just random acts of meaningless violence.
Now, don't get me wrong and moan about it and call me up. I'm sorry, Nick. That's the way I feel. Now, get out of here. I mean it.
I say tomato and you say tomato. You say Chicano. I say Chicano. Tomato. Tomato. Chicano. Chicano. Let's call this crazy thing off. Yeah. All right.
It's a good thing I had a couple of Quaaludes in my sock.
In here. Trying to keep politics out of the Olympics is like trying to keep a 3-year-old from eating dirt. Good luck and hello, doctor.
Here's the new front page, Monsieur Kane.
Yeah, it was strange. Had no appetite. Just wanted coffee. Pure black coffee.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm cheaper and more reliable than American Express because I never leave my apartment. You can call me 24 hours a day.
You move around the floor, kind of leap and prance. Shake a little, just a little, and you're doing the end the dance. The end.
This week come unconfirmed reports that the Ayatollah Khomeini is dead. However, informed sources say this is just a rumor that started when a Tehran disc jockey, Wolfman Hakim, played Beatles records backwards and heard the Ayatollah's voice singing Strawberry Fields in Arabic.
When you got Spud. Oh, Spud.
Spud, the beer that made Boise famous.